ਹੁਣ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ ਚੱਲ ਪਏ ਵੇ, ਫਿਰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ। ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਇੱਧਰ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ। ਬਸ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ, ਹੁਣ ਡਨ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਭ। ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ, ਵੈਸੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਲਿਆਤੀ ਇੱਥੇ।
ਮੈਂ ਜੀ ਬੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਹਾ।
ਹਾਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਹੋ ਉਧਰ ਡਾਟਾ ਪਰ
YouTube ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ YouTube ਤੋਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਕੀ ਤੋਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ?
ਮੈਂ ਟਵਿਚ ਤੋਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਭਾਜੀ।
ਸਾਡੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਦੇ 2 ਬੰਦੇ ਚੱਕੇ ਗਏ।
ਹਾਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ?
ਸਾਡੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ 2 ਬੰਦੇ ਚੱਕੇ ਗਏ।
ਪਿਆਰਾ ਮੁਲਕ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਕੱਲਿਆਂ ਦਾ?
ਸਾਡਾ ਹੀ ਗੇਮ ਹੈ, ਮੇਰਾ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਗਿਆ ਸਾਡਾ।
ਸਾਡਾ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ, ਲੋਟ ਆ ਭਾਈ। ਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੱਪ ਆਪਾਂ ਲਾਈਵ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਪੱਕਾ। ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰੋ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ।
ਮਾਂ ਚੱਕੋ ਆ ਚੱਕੋ
ਤੁਮ
ਦੇਖੂਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ
ਆਦਾ ਭਾਈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਜੂ ਕੁਝ।
ਬੜੀ ਬਾਲਾ ਡਿਲੇ ਆ
ਮੇਰਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ
ਬਾਲਾ ਡਿਲੇ ਆ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ 'ਚ।
ਉਹ ਭਾਜੀ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਉਧਰ ਹੀ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਮੇਰੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਹਜੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਚੱਲੂਗਾ, ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਲੇਟ ਵੀ ਚੱਲੂਗੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਨੈਟ ਵੀ ਉਸ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਚੱਲਦਾ। ਆਪਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਜ਼ਾਰੇ ਲੈਣੇ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ, ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਏਡਾ ਟੈਨਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ।
ਭਾਈ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਯਾਰ ਦਾ ਹਾਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਭੈਣ ਪਟਿਆਲੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਡਾਇਨਾਮਿਕ ਜੱਟ
ਭਾਈ
ਨਾਲੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਨਾਲ ਟਰੱਕੇ ਚਲਾਈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਭਾਜੀ।
ਸਨੋ ਰਨਰ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ
ਗੇਮ ਘੈਂਟ ਸੀ ਭਾਈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਮੰਨੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਗੇਮ ਘੈਂਟ ਸੀ ਇਹ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਉਹ ਗੇਮ ਘੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ
ਤੁਸੀਂ
ਹੈਗੀ
ਗ੍ਰਾਈਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸਲ 'ਚ ਇਹ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਕ ਗਏ
ਭਾਜੀ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੂਜੀ ਯੂਰੋ ਟਰੱਕ ਵਧੀਆ ਨਾ ਭਾਜੀ, ਯੂਰੋ ਟਰੱਕ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ।
ਡਰ ਗਏ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੇਮ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਨਾਲ ਨਜ਼ਾਰਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਨਾਲੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ।
ਉਹ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਟੀਅਰਿੰਗ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਜ਼ਾਰੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਐਵੇਂ ਨਹੀਂ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਈ ਮਤਲਬ ਚੱਕਰ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਵਿਊਰ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਜ਼ਾਰਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, ਜਦ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਖੇਡੀ ਚੱਲਾਂ। ਯੂਰੋ ਟਰੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਖੇਡ ਲੈਣਾ, ਯੂਰੋ ਟਰੱਕ ਖੇਡ ਲਿਆ ਕਰੋ ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ 10 ਘੰਟੇ ਖੜਾ।
ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣੋ। ਉਹਦੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਫਸਦੀ, ਉਹ ਜੋ ਟੈਰਨ ਪਲੇਨ ਆ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਉਹ 'ਚ ਮਤਲਬ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਉਹ ਚੈਲੰਜਿੰਗ ਘੱਟ ਆ
ਭਾਜੀ। ਉਹਦਾ ਹੋਰ ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਫੀਲ ਅਲੱਗ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਦੀ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ।
ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਉਹ ਐਡਵੈਂਚਰਸ ਗੇਮ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹ ਗੇਮ ਐਡਵੈਂਚਰਸ ਆ।
ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ
ਹੈਨਾ, ਇਹ ਗੇਮ ਐਡਵੈਂਚਰਸ ਆ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ
ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹਦਾ ਅਲੱਗ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਆ। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਭਾਜੀ, ਜੇ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਖੇਡੋਗੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਏ ਅਫੀਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਚਲਾਉਣੀ ਆ। ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹਦਾ
ਰੋਜ਼ ਟੋਏ ਪਹਾੜ ਚਿੱਕੜ ਟੋਚਨ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣ ਪਸੰਦ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼
ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ। ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝ ਰਿਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ। ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਚ ਦੇਖੋ ਹੁਣ ਭਾਜੀ, ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਮ ਤੇ ਦਾ ਲਾਉਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ। USA ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਆ, ਇਕੱਲੇ ਬ੍ਰਾਜ਼ੀਲ ਦੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਰਕੀ ਦੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਮ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦਾ ਲਾਉਣਾ ਖੇਡਣੇ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਰਾਂ।
ਮੈਂ ਦਾ ਲਾਉਂਗਾ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਭਾਜੀ
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ 3 ਬੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਭਾਜੀ। ਅੱਛਾ ਆ ਭੀਤਰਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਹਿਮਾਸ, ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਭੈੜਾ ਭਾਜੀ, ਇਹਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਿਪਟਾਇਆ ਟੀਗਲ 10 ਹੁਣੇ। ਆ ਪਿਛਲਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਚ ਕੱਪ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਟੂਰਨਾਮੈਂਟ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਨੇ ਨਿਬੇੜਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਮਾੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸਾਰੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਮ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਨਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੰਦੇ। ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਕੁਛ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ, ਕੁਛ ਆਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਭਾਜੀ ਕਾ ਨੇੜ ਸੀਗਾ ਪੱਥਰ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ। USA ਭਾਜੀ 8-7 ਕੱਲੇ ਹੀ ਬੈਠਾ। USA ਵੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਟੌਪ ਤੇ ਆ। ਹਾਂ 2 ਟੀਗਲ 10 ਭਾਜੀ ਇਕੱਲਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ, ਉਹਦੀ ਟੀਮ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਡਾ ਕੋਈ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਪਲੇਅਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਨਾ ਜਾਣਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਹਾਂ ਚਾਂਸ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ। ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਭੰਨੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਉਹ ਲੈ ਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ।
not. There we go. Turkey gone
Brazil out
in
होता है
at
भाजी
6. So
Brazil out
USA
होता है
are starting to accelerate. It feels like
USA
maybe it is USA
मरूगी
against
वो भी
Vietnam.
ਹੁਣ एक्स पे खेल रही है
ਨਹੀਂ USA ਸ਼ਰਮ ਜੀ ਬੈਠਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਘਰ ਚ ਇਕੱਲਾ 3 ਜਣੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਆ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਜੀ ਤਾਂ ਕੰਪਾਊਂਡ ਲਈ ਬੈਠਾ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ ਉਹਨੇ
ਕੱਲਾ ਕੁਝ ਪੱਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ
Yeah, they've got that
Kiddha?
3-man hunting pack.
Oh,
Shooting
Sunny
still
Deol
sit
itne
back
लड़का
in
बट
the
गया
compound and hold it down while the rest of the lads push their way out and try to farm some points. And it is working perfectly. And working for USA.
ਸਹੀ ਹੈ
And getting another angle, and now they're turning their attentions towards Vietnam. So they're kind
ਮੈਨੂੰ
of
ਪਿਛਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਉਮੀਦ ਜਾਗੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਕੁਝ ਕਰ ਲੈਣ ਨਾ ਮਾੜਾ ਮੋਟਾ ਵਧੀਆ ਵੀ ਖੇਡ ਜਾਣ
team after team after team is falling to the USA and Vietnam.
ਪਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਭੋਰੀ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਲੋਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਪ ਦੇ ਜਾਣ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ ਉਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸਾਲਾ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਫਾਇਦਾ
ਉਹਦਾ ਬਾਜੀ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਕਰਟਸੀ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਇੱਕ
ਹਾਂ 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 ਹਾਂ
ਉਹੀ ਬਤਾ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਹਾਂ ਜੇ ਲੀਡੀਆ ਵੀ ਵੱਡਾ ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਚਲੋ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਸੀਟ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ
ਹਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਸੀਟ ਗਵਾਤੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਈਕਲ ਤੇ ਹਾਈ ਸਾਕੀ ਮਰ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ
Saki will die for the cause, but he gave Vietnam the opportunity to get into this next circle.
It's about what you do with that, and they really, really worked their way through that one quite nicely. It wasn't as if they were just cowering away inside of that compound. They were working hard.
ਭਾਈ ਸ਼ਰਮਜੀਤ ਦੀ ਮੰਮੀ ਹੱਥ ਲਾਉਂਦੀ ਆ ਕੌਣ
So we're talking about fans traveling all the way in to Nations Cup to support their team. We've got some US fans as well, by the looks of things here as well. So yeah,
ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਭਾਈ ਇੱਕ ਉਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਇਹ ਹੋਰ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਐਚ ਵਿਨ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ
mid game, late game, it felt like everything was working really, really comfortably for them.
ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਵੀ
I don't know what you put that down to, but
ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਉਹ ਐਚ ਵਿਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਦੂਜੀ ਟੀਮ ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੋਨਿਕ ਵਾਲੀ ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ
1v4 onto Brazil. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, Seoul stole one of those kills, but man, oh man, James, just such a tenacious player. He is just. He seems to get better as the years goes on. That's the crazy thing about James. He's always been good, but the last year and a half, he has been really, really special.
it's funny, isn't it? You know, when you talk about PUBG and the history of it, there are some players that it feels like coming into 2024, it's like, well, you should be kind of washed. You should have probably had your time and gone. And yet we've got guys that are kind of getting better and better and better. And so, I don't know, maybe it's just one of those kind of games. Maybe it's a boomer game. I don't know. You get better.
There are quite a few boomers in this.
I like to call it a thinking man's game, but the Zoomers these days, they call it a boomer game. So,
Yeah, whatever. Thinking man game. I like
thinking man's game.
I like that. I like that.
Thì với bước khởi đầu với một vòng bo khó tuy
We saw that from James as well. The
ਭਾਜੀ
shots that
ਵੀਤਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਚੱਲੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵਿੱਚ
right? So it's not just about his
ਵੀਤਨਾਮ ਨੂੰ 38000 ਦੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਚੱਲੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ
in particular. It's just he's actually hit some pretty nuts shots.
Exactly. It's just the way he understands how to position himself and then follow through with his great mechanics. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm really impressed with James, as always. Vietnam doing Vietnam things. I'm just always right there, just always kind of fragging out, making you sweat there at the end of games because they just have outrageously good individual firepower in the UK. They're just good at this game, man. What can you say? Every time at PNC. There at the end of games because they just have outrageously good individual firepower in the UK.
You know what I mean?
They're just good at this game, man. Say every time it feels
pretty early on in the piece.
Every
year,
year.
most of the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a good game by UK standards. You know what I mean? That was actually quite a bad game as far as they're concerned. I'm sure. They lose players pretty early on in the piece. They're fighting most of the time, but still they're able to get 8 kills on the board and get a few points rolling. So. That's a very scary looking UK roster even out of the gates. I think we get our answer about Norway that in some way, shape or form they are going to be competitive. You could put that down really to obviously just James being individually skilled and making that play happen, but that's going to happen every now and then. So they're going to be a threat on that scoreboard if they can kind of keep it ticking over like that one. But yeah, I mean, so far most things are kind of falling into place. Doing well, Vietnam doing well, UK doing well.
ਅਗਲਾ ਮੈਚ ਭਾਜੀ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਹਲੇ
Well, those were 4 of the big teams that we talked about. We
ਅਗਲਾ
weren't
ਮੈਚ
really too sure what to make of
ਚੱਲੂਗਾ
China. Again, probably still don't
5
get
ਮਿੰਟ
our
ਬ੍ਰੇਕ
answer
ਹੁੰਦਾ
there.
ਭਾਜੀ
Didn't really
5
look like it
minutes.
came out
Okay,
there.
okay.
Man of the match. He's going to be kickstart. Had to be someone from USA.
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਭਾਈ 4 ਮਾਰ ਗਿਆ
4 of them, getting to the end game and pretty much locking it in. So
YouTube
that was a beautiful game to watch. And if that's the kind of level that USA is going to bring,
ਭਾਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਭਾਈ ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣੋ
you go back and win that one. At the end of the day,
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾ
three,
ਭਾਈ
you're feeling pretty good.
Absolutely. And Kickstart in general.
ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਐਡਵਰਟਾਈਜ਼ਮੈਂਟ ਕਰੋ
is really
ਉਹਦੀ
starting to find his home, find that comfort with the Sonics. You know, second place at PGS3.
ਸੋਲਰ ਪੈਨਲ ਦੀ ਭਾਈ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਦੋਸਤ ਨੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਕੰਮ ਜਲੰਧਰ ਤੋਂ
Okay.
ਤੇ
It took a little while.
ਆਪਣਾ ਪੂਰਾ
as it
ਖਾਸ
always does
ਯਾਰ
in
ਮਿੱਤਰਾ
PUBG. This game is
ਤੁਸੀਂ
really hard
ਜੇ
to
ਕੋਈ
get
ਬੰਦਾ
everybody on
ਲਵਾਉਣਾ
the
ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ
same
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ
page.
ਦੱਸੋ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ
It
ਠੀਕ ਆ
seems simple
ਸਿੱਧਾ
from the
ਸਿੱਧਾ
outside,
ਨੰਬਰ
but it
ਦਿੰਦਾ
is
ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ
truly not. There is so
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ।
much going on. In how you
ਤੁਹਾਡਾ
make
proper ਤੁਹਾਡਾ
decisions
ਕੱਟ
and
ਹੋਊ
like
ਉਹਦੇ
the
ਵਿੱਚ
protocols on how
Okay.
you decide when to do
ਠੀਕ
things.
ਆ ਜੀ
Where you're
ਤੇ
gonna
ਭਾਈ
go,
ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ
how
ਕੋਈ
you're gonna position
ਲੱਲੂ
yourself in
ਪੰਜੂ
those
ਵਾਲੀ ਕੰਮ
battles.
ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ
Kick
ਪੂਰਾ
has really
ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ
started to
ਬ੍ਰਾਂਡਡ
find
ਜਿਵੇਂ
his
ਮੰਨ ਲਓ
groove.
ਅਦਾਨੀ ਦੇ
Always
ਜਾਂ
known as
ਵਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਜਾਂ
tremendous
ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਹਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੈਂ
individually,
ਟੌਪ ਐਂਡ
phenomenal
ਚੀਜ਼ ਲੱਗੂਗੀ
Even better
ਜੀ।
now that
ਹਾਂ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਾਈ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੰਦਾ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰਨੀ ਗੱਲ ਪਾਓ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾ ਦੂੰਗਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜੀ
Okay.
ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਐਡਵਰਟਾਈਜ਼ਮੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ
Okay.
ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਉਹ ਮੰਗਵਾ ਲੈਣਾ ਉਹਦਾ PDF ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੇ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਕਰਵਾ ਕੇ ਲਾ ਲਓ
ਓਕੇ ਲਾ ਦੂੰਗਾ ਭਾਜੀ
ਹਨਾ
ਹੂੰ
ਤੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪਰ ਚੱਕਰ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਆਫਟਰ ਕੈਮਰੇ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੈਮਰੇ ਦਾ ਰਿਵਾਜ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ
ਹਾਂ ਹਾਂ
ਭਾਜੀ ਫਿਰ ਉਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੁਣ ਸੋਲਰ ਦਾ ਰਿਵਾਜ ਭਾਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੱਲੂਗਾ
ਹੂੰ
ਲਗਭਗ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਆ
ਹੂੰ
ਤੇ ਟਰਸਟ ਵੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋਊਗੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਯਾਨੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੋ ਜੂਗਾ
ਸੇਲ ਵਧਾਈਏ
ਸੇਲ ਵਧਾਓ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਘੱਟ ਆ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੱਧ ਆਪਾਂ
ਹੂੰ ਉਹਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੁਰਦੇ ਆ
ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਾਸ ਯਾਰ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਆ
ਓਕੇ ਜਲੰਧਰ ਤੋਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੁਣ ਕੰਮ
ਜਲੰਧਰ ਤੋਂ
ਓਕੇ
ਪੈਨ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਆ
ਅੱਛਾ
ਬਾਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਮੰਗਵਾਉਣੀ ਕੋਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੰਗਵਾਉਣੀ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਵੀ ਹਾਂ ਭਾਈ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੰਗਵਾਉਣਾ ਰੇਟ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਿਹਾ
ਅੱਛਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਅੱਛਾ
ਠੀਕ ਆ
ਹੂੰ
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਰੇਟ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸੂਗਾ
ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝ ਗਿਆ
ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਰੇਟ ਭਾਈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਰੇਟ ਬੰਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਕਰ ਲਵੇ ਬਾਕੀਆਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਟੌਪ ਐਂਡ ਕੰਮ ਆ
ਓਕੇ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਸਹੀ ਹੈ ਭਾਜੀ ਫਿਰ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਹੋ ਜਾ ਸਾਲਿਆ ਲਾਲ ਹੀ ਚੱਲੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸਹੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ
ਭਾਜੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਇਸ ਵਕਤ 18000 ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਮੈਟਲ ਆ
ਹਾਂ ਕਾਦਾ
ਤੇ ਏਪੈਕਸ ਦਾ
ਹਾਂ
ਤੇ 4000 ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਏਪੈਕਸ ਕੋਇਨ ਆ
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗਿਫਟ ਕਰ ਦੋ ਰਾਇਲ ਪਾਸ ਕੁਛ
ਭਾਈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਡੱਬਾ ਲੈਣਾ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਦੋ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇੱਕ ਡੱਬਾ ਲੈਣਾ 700 ਰੁਪਏ ਵਾਲਾ 700 ਕੋਇਨ ਵਾਲਾ
ਉਹ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਮਿਲਣਾ
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕੋਇਨ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਏਪੈਕਸ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਖੇਡੀ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁਣ
700 ਕੋਇਨ ਤਾਂ ਹੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ
ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਬਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਕੋਇਨ ਭਾਜੀ
ਫ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਲਾ
ਫ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਲਾ 100 200 ਹੋਊਗਾ
700 ਕਰੋ ਨਾ
ਕਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ
ਮੇਰੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਆਉਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਗਿਫਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਵਾਲਾ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਗਿਫਟ ਕੋਈ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਬਿਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਬਣਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ 1 ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਏ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਟਾਲ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਸਟਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਮੰਗਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਮੈਂਡੀ ਤੋਂ ਮੰਗਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਇੱਕ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੰਗਿਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਸ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਏ ਕਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ
ਭਾਜੀ ਦੱਸ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਾਈ ਕਰ ਤੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਭਾਈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬੁਰਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬਾਈ ਦਾ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਚ 에ਅਰ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਲੈਣਾ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੇਅਰ ਲੂਮ ਗਿਫਟ ਕਰੋ ਭਾਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਡੱਬੇ 2 ਗਿਫਟ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਮੈਂ
ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਫੇਰ ਹੋਈ ਭਾਈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹੁਣ ਗਿਫਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ
ਭਾਜੀ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਗਲਤ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ
ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹੀ ਆ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇੱਕ ਡੱਬੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਬਣਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੱਕ ਡੱਬੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਈ ਕਰੋੜ ਰੁਪਏ ਬਸ ਮੇਰੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਤਿੰਨ ਡੱਬੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਲੱਗੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਚ ਕੁਝ ਅਲੱਗ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਖੇਡਦੇ
ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ 24 ਆਪਾਂ 24 ਪੈਕ ਖੋਲਣੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ 에ਅਰ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਹਨਾ
ਓਕੇ ਹਾਂ
ਉਹ ਚ 12 ਬੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਐਪਿਕ ਪਰਪਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਪਲ ਹਨਾ ਪਿੰਕ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਖੋਲਣੇ ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ 9500 ਰੁਪਏ ਦੇ
ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਮੈਟਲ ਦੇ
ਹਾਂ ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਮੈਟਲ ਦੇ
ਅੱਛਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਖੁੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ
ਖੋਲਣੇ ਸੁਣੋ ਗੱਲ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ 12 ਮਿੰਟ ਦੇ ਨੇ 9600 ਰੁਪਏ 800 ਰੁਪਏ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ 9600 ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਸੌਰੀ 12 ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਲੈਣੀ ਬਣ ਗਏ 9600 ਰੁਪਏ
1296 ਹਾਂ
ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉੱਪਰਲੇ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਬਾਕੀ ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਬਚ ਗਏ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲੈਜੈਂਡਰੀ ਡੱਬਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਈਟਮ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ 2400 ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ 9600 ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਰ ਪਿਆ 12 ਆਪਣੇ 24 ਚੌਕਾ 96 ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜੀ 4 ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਉਹ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ 8 ਡੱਬੇ ਲੈਜੈਂਡਰੀਆਂ ਚੋਂ 12 ਹੀ ਲੈਜੈਂਡਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ 12 ਹੀ ਐਪਿਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਐਪਿਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੈ ਲਏ ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਸੁਣ ਸਮਝੋ ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ
ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਸਰ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਚ ਸਰ ਗਿਆ
ਹਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੁਣੋ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਚਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਲੈਜੈਂਡਰੀ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਲੈਣਾ ਕਰਾਫਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ 8 ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਨਾ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਰ ਪੈਕ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ 5000 ਕੋਇਨ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਪੈਕ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਚ 5000 ਕੋਇਨ ਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ 2 ਡੱਬੇ 2 ਸਕਿਨਾਂ ਪਲੱਸ 6 ਡੱਬੇ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹ ਐ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਉਹ 5 ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ 4 ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਾਨੀ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਆਫ ਕਾਸਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਕੰਮ।
ਅੱਛਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤਾਂ ਚੱਲ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਦੋਂ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ?
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਭਾਜੀ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ 700 ਲੈਵਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ, 750 ਲੈਵਲ
ਨਾਲ ਤਾਂ ਕਦੇ 500 ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਖੁੱਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ, 500 ਪੈਕ ਤੇ ਖੁੱਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ।
500 ਪੈਕ ਤੇ ਖੁੱਲਦਾ, ਲੈਵਲ 750
ਲੈਵਲ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਕੋਈ ਰੌਲਾ?
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਭਾਜੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਪਹਿਲੇ 100 ਲੈਵਲ ਤੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਉਹ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜੀ, ਹਰ 100 ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਫਿਰ ਉਦੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਹਰ 2 ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਇੱਕ ਪੈਕ ਮਿਲਦਾ। ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੰਦਾ ਮੰਨ ਕੇ ਚਲੋ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ 750 ਮੰਨ ਕੇ ਚਲੋ 750 ਲੈਵਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਗਭਗ 500 ਦੇ ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਉਹਦੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ। ਕੋਈ ਬਾਕੀ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਵੁੱਟ ਵੀ ਖੇਲਦਾ, ਕੁਝ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਵੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਹਨਾ, ਜੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਡੱਬੇ ਡੁੱਬੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੁੱਲ ਮਿਲਾ ਕੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਯਾਨੀ 750 ਲੈਵਲ ਤੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ 500 ਪੈਕ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਯਾਨੀ।
ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ
ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਬੰਦੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਨਿਕਲ ਸਕਦਾ।
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਪੈਕ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆ ਫਿਊਜ਼ ਪੈਕ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਕਰੈਕਟਰ ਵਾਲਾ,
ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਕਾਊਂਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ
ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਚਾਂਸ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਵਾ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਡੱਬੇ
ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ। ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ।
ਓਕੇ
ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਭਾਜੀ, ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਚ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਫਿਊਜ਼ ਦੀ ਆਈਟਮ ਨਿਕਲੂਗੀ।
ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਆਈਟਮ ਹੀ ਨਿਕਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ। ਹਾਂ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਾਂਸ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ,
ਸਿੰਪਲ ਦੇ ਚਾਂਸ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਕੋਈ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਲਗਭਗ 1500 2000 ਘੰਟਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ 2000 ਘੰਟਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ।
ਅੱਛਾ
ਤੇ
ਭਾਈ ਘੰਟੇ ਤਾਂ ਬਥੇਰੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੋਣੇ ਆ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਘੰਟੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ?
ਮੇਰੇ 3000 ਹੋ ਗਏ।
ਮੇਰੇ ਦੇਖਾਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਆ।
3000 ਹਾਂ ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਮੇਰੇ, ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ 3000। ਰੋਬੋ ਦਾ 10000 ਘੰਟਾ ਭਾਜੀ, ਰੋਬੋ ਦਾ 10000 ਘੰਟਾ ਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ 10000 ਘੰਟੇ ਨੂੰ ਭਾਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ 24 ਘੰਟੇ ਨਾਲ ਤਕਸੀਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਦਿਨ ਬਣਦੇ ਨੇ।
ਮੇਰੇ ਪੌਣੇ 800 ਘੰਟੇ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ, 775 ਹੀ ਆ ਮੇਰੇ।
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲਗਭਗ 1200 ਘੰਟਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਖੇਡੋ।
ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਖੇਡਣੀ ਪਊਗੀ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨੇੜੇ ਹੋ ਭਾਜੀ, ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਦੂਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੋਣੇ ਵਾਲਾ।
ਹੋਰ ਭਾਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਖੋਲ ਨਿਕਲਿਆ ਵੇ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡੱਬੇ 'ਚ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਰੋਜ਼ ਹੀ ਖੋਲ ਦੇਣਾ ਭਾਈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡੱਬਾ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਖੋਲ ਦੇਣਾ।
ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਚੱਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਮੈਂ।
ਉਹ ਸਬਰ ਜਿਹਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਭਾਜੀ। ਭਾਜੀ ਚੈਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਚੱਕ ਰਿਹਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਬਚ ਗਿਆ
ਦੂਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਨਾ, ਇਹਦੀ ਡ੍ਰੌਪ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ ਬੁਲਟ ਦਾ।
ਭਾਜੀ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਕਿੱਲ ਘੱਟ ਸੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨਾ, ਲਾਸਟ ਮੈਚ 6ਵੇਂ ਨੰਬਰ ਤੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਈ ਵਿਚਾਰੀ, ਆਈ ਤੀਜੇ ਤੇ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਹ।
6ਵੇਂ ਨੰਬਰ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏ, ਦੂਜੇ ਤੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੀਜੇ ਤੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ।
ਹਾਂ ਕਿੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿੱਲ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਉਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ।
ਇੱਕ ਕਿੱਲ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਬਸ, ਇੱਕ ਬਦਲੇ
5 ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਮਿਲੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ, 10 6 5 ਮਿਲੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਆ ਨਾ, 2 ਕਿੱਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਭਾਜੀ, 6 ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਆ, 4 ਹੀ ਮਿਲੇ ਨੇ, 10 6 4 ਮਿਲਦੇ
5 ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਮਿਲੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ 4
5 7 10 10 ਟੌਪ ਵਾਲੇ 7 ਦੂਜੇ ਤੇ ਤੀਜੇ ਤੇ 5
ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਆਏ ਹੋਵੇ।
ਇੱਕ ਕਿੱਲ ਸੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੱਕਾ ਪਤਾ, ਇੱਕ ਕਿੱਲ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਕੋਲ।
ਓਕੇ ਜਾਪਾਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਮੁੰਦਰ ਦੇ ਕਿਨਾਰੇ ਤੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਟਾਇਰ ਤੋੜ ਤੇ ਕਵਾੜ ਨੇ, ਥਾਈਲੈਂਡ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ। ਅੰਦਰ ਡੀਕਦਾ ਹੀ ਸੀ ਉਹ, ਗੱਡੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਲਾਉਣ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਟਾਇਰ ਤੋੜਾਂ। ਚੌਦਾਂ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਨੇ ਲਾ ਲਓ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਕਿੰਨੇ 7 ਕਿੱਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਨਾ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ।
ਯਾ
7 ਕਿੱਲ ਹੀ ਸੈੱਟ ਆਉ ਤਾਂ ਕੰਮ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ।
ਨਾਰਵੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਰ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਨਾਰਵੇ ਵਾਲੇ।
ਨਾਰਵੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ, ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਜੇਮਸੀ
ਅੱਗੇ ਸੀ। ਨਾ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਨਾਰਵੇ
ਭਾਜੀ। ਮੈਂ ਜੀਮਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਤੇ, ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਖੇਡਿਆ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਟੀਮ 'ਚ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਜੀਮਸ,
ਕਿਸੇ ਟੀਮ 'ਚ ਖੇਡਦਾ।
ਭਾਜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ 'ਚ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਉਹ, ਪਰਟੋਨਾ ਵੱਲ ਜਾਊ ਜ਼ੋਨ, ਪ੍ਰਜਨ ਪਰਟੋਨਾ ਵੱਲ। ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਕਾਹਤੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੁੜਕਦੀਆਂ, ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਮੁੱਧੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੁੰਦੀ।
ਭਾਜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਨੇ,
ਭਾਜੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਆ
No, not that hard.
ਗੱਡੀ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੀ
Oh,
ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਫਰਕ
not like this, not like this.
ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਆ
I will say, I did just come from Vietnam.
ਪੂਰੀ ਵਾਲ ਨੇ ਘੇਰ ਲਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ
ਬੰਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੂਰੀ ਲੌਬੀ ਖਾ ਜੂਗਾ ਐਸਾ ਲਾ
Like
ਲਓ
that. It's just
ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਉੱਤੇ ਆਵੇ ਨਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਮ ਲੌਬੀ 'ਚ ਨਾਰਮਲ ਲੌਬੀ 'ਚ
ਹਾਂ
I've heard
ਪੂਰੀ
that.
ਲੌਬੀ ਖਾ ਜੂ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ
nice. Get him on a bike. I don't think he, you know, he'll be
ਭਾਈ
right.
ਜਿਮਥ ਨੇ ਨਵੇੜਤਾ
But
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲਾ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਵਾਲਾ
Oh, he is. There's just not much he can do.
Nick was
honestly.
smoking. I think the rest of the lads have kind of just left him.
No, they should. There's really no hope for him unless something crazy happens.
ਸਰਬਰਸ ਈ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਵਾਈ ਵਿਤਨਾਮ
Out in the open with a bunch of Norway around, goes to the fray, has two in the Bronco.
ਇੰਡੋਨੇਸ਼ੀਆ ਨੇ ਲਾਇਆ ਭਾਜੀ
Damage.
Can't miss those shots. Like, if you're going to take those shots, you can't miss those shots.
What
Because
do
now
you-
look what happens. Oh, Norway's not happy.
The question is Trick going to be able to get there in time?
ਇੰਡੋਨੇਸ਼ੀਆ
Such a good player for so many years. That's a great transfer. Two players knocked. What? It's the flush. That was disgusting, Teddy.
Okay, well, Norway have bitten off a bit more than they can chew, and so have I, because apparently you can miss those shots, because then you just hit those
Then you just hit
shots.
those. That was even better.
It was.
That was harder than like trying to spray people out of that Bronco.
Yeah. Well done. That's a bit of a killing blow for Norway, unfortunately. Losing a couple players and out in the zone at the moment. Not going to be good for them. Also, kind of surrounded by Indonesia now as well. It's kind of going from bad to worse. 80 does get his med kit off, but it's just not going to survive. That ain't a trick. Have kind of done a number.
ਨਾਰਵੇ ਤੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਭਾਈ ਜਿਮਥ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਨੂੰ
James, find him.
James stands alone. He's trying to go for some heals. Oh, that was close. Teddy had gone just a hair further. They've been able to get the spot on the Jimbo, but Brazil, Wizera from long, long range, finding some serious damage. But James gets flanks and he gets taken.
ਗਈ ਨਾਰਵੇ
Teddy, squad wipes Norway after what looked like it might be a dicey start for him and Indonesia. He flips the script. And gets a squad wipe for himself.
Well, that's one way to do it. And after what was looking like a really good start for Norway, or at least for James, has gone a little bit pear-shaped in game 2. So, game 3. Getting the answers actually to why Vietnam was taken as the number 2 most threatening team. So I think was Seoul, their Cerberus is one of the best players, one of the best teams rather, in the world, and obviously they comprise the majority of this Vietnamese roster. And we get the answer as well that Taikon is apparently pretty good, and I would follow that up as well. He's my captain on my fantasy team, so I kind of agree.
At times, so gifted.
Yeah.
When he hits those grooves, when he gets in that flow state,
ਆਦੇ ਖੁੰਝੇ ਲੱਗਿਆ
I don't know
ਬੈਠਾ
if there's
ਕਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ
anybody in the world I'd take over him. When he's in
ਵਿਤਨਾਮ ਦਾ ਕਲੋਈ
like Eggs left, yes, amazing. Seoul, yes, amazing. Imas, very consistent the last couple of years.
Fine.
But Prime Uba, even Uba was just really smart.
ਹੁਣ ਆਹੀ ਬਸ ਪਰ ਸਵਾਲ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ
Like, the thing about Uba, he was so good at positioning himself, and then he'd hit these really clean shots. Like, he was really disgusting with DMRs, and his rifle was great as well, but Uba was the complete package. So smart, so efficient. But when Taikon, like, in those moments where it's like,
Taikon's just a fragger, right?
he just does stuff that leaves you just absolutely flabbergasted.
Hopefully we can get to see it here at Nations Cup.
I'd appreciate it.
I would too.
ਹੋਰ ਲਾਈਨ ਦੱਸ ਕੋਲ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ
Brazil's on the move. Did have a little bit of difficulty towards the back end of the last game, but didn't start too poorly. Tig has spotted him out. Heard
ਭਾਈ ਆ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਕਰਦਾ ਫਿਰਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਪੰਗਾ ਲੈ ਲੈਣੇ
a very key component to this Australia roster.
ਹੈਲੋ
Probably
ਕਿਨੇ
the best player
ਟਿਕਲ 10
out of Australia.
ਇਕੱਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੱਢੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਰਾਜ
So the game leader for this roster as well. Zera.
ਵਿਨਾਸ਼ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਵਿਪਰੀਤ
Now
ਬੁੱਧੀ
one more shot would do it.
ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ
Oh, man.
ਕੱਲਾ
ਵਿਨਾਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ
ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੱਲਾ ਫਿਰਦਾ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕੱਢਦਾ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ
Oh, I
Eh.
safely got him, though.
ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਚਲਾਤੀਆਂ ਬ੍ਰਾਜ਼ੀਲ ਵਾਲਾ ਤੇ
He might be alright. He's got a smoke.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਚੱਕੇ ਗਏ
Doesn't look like that kill is going to be confirmed, but Brazil are just on their way. They're not interested in getting
ਕਿਹੜਾ
that.
ਤੈਨੂੰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ
I don't know if they can really pull up here because
ਭਾਈ ਪੀਡੀਐਕਸ ਹੋਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ ਕਿ ਪੀਡੀਐਕਸ
right
ਹੋਣਾ
up above them.
ਜੱਸੀ ਹੋਣਾ
And
ਭਾਈ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਗੱਲ
grenade.
ਸਰਵਰ ਲੀਵ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ
They'd be in a real bit of a
ਉਹ
problem.
ਮਾੜਾ ਮੋਟਾ
Might be
ਬਲੌਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਵਾ
Like to
Acha.
see Canada could put a little bit more pressure on him.
ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ
That angle. Favorite.
ਆਇਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਇਆ
In there. Just seeing if he can get down there. But the problem is you have Thailand. that's
How
able
about
to,
you?
I think, put some shots towards him in.
ਨਾ ਨਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ
When
ਆਇਆ
it starts to take some
Okay,
beats, Onyx is actually going to be the one who steals that kill on Zera. Coming in after the destruction of Team Norway. Rex goes for a spray. Indonesia able to get behind that hill safely, and they're okay for now. They've got a sandstorm covering them to the north as well.
ਮੇਰੀ ਟੀਮ ਤਾਂ ਭਾਈ ਹੁਣ ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਉੱਟ ਗਏ, ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਤਾਂ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤਿੰਨ ਹਜੇ।
Blue zone nade.
ਉੱਡੇ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਹੀ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਫਿਰ
Actual nade.
ਅੱਛਾ
Looks like Canada are a little bit short on supplies at the moment. If they would have had a few grenades to throw, I think Brazil would be in a really bad spot right there. But it actually seems like they might be able to play this, at least for now, just because Canada doesn't have anything to throw at them, and they don't obviously want to push over the top either and fight, because there's
ਜੱਸੀ ਨਾਲ ਤਾਂ ਨਾਲੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਡਾ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ, ਜੱਸੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਲੌਗ ਮਾਰਿਆ, ਪੀਡੀਐਕਸ ਹੀ ਮਾਰਿਆ, ਪੀਡੀਐਕਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਟਦਾ ਜੀ ਭਾਈ ਵਾਲਾ।
lucky break.
ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਭਾਈ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ, ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਤੋਂ
ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਈ, ਉਹ ਕੁਛ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੀ ਆਪਦੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਤੇਜ਼ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਬੰਦਾ, ਜਿੱਡਾ ਉਹ ਛੋਟਾ ਨਾ
Points later on in the piece if they
ਉੱਡਾ ਉਹ ਬਾਹਲਾ ਕੁਛ ਬਣਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ।
way to survive there. Still doesn't look fantastic, but better than being
ਗੱਲ ਆਇਆ ਵੀ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇੱਕੋ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਨਾ
That's open.
ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਦੇ ਹੱਕ 'ਚ ਫਿਰ ਬਾਹਲਾ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਨਵੇੜਤਾ ਆ ਵੀ।
like he might be donezo.
Teddy, man.
ਮਤਲਬ ਇੱਕ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ, ਹੁਣ ਕਾਹਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨਾ ਦੁਬਾਰੇ।
Get that squad wipe, and then this happens. There's no way his team can
Shut
get to him that I can see.
Are they trying to build a wall of smokes for him to get?
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਕੋਰੀ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਚ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ।
ਹਾਂ ਹਾਂ, ਸਰਕਲ ਬਦਲ ਗਿਆ, ਕਿਨਾਰਾ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ।
ਓਏ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਸਮਤ ਨੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਲਈ ਹੈ ਨਾ।
ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਉਹ ਟਿਕਲਟਨ ਉਹ ਕਰਦਾ, ਇਹ ਕੱਲਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਭਾਈ, ਟਿਕਲਟਨ ਕੱਲੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕੱਢੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ,
Australia, who
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਪਲਿਟ ਖੇਡੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤਿੰਨ ਇੱਕ ਦਾ।
okay, this might be our chance.
ਗੁੱਸੇ ਗੱਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਕਿੱਥੇ?
Not in a bad spot either, so two
ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ
ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਲੱਕੀ ਦੀ ਜਾਂ ਰੋਪੋ ਦੀ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ
ਵਿੱਚ।
ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਚੱਲ ਪੁੰਟ ਭਰਾਓ, ਮੈਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਹੀ ਚੱਲਿਆ,
ਇਕੱਲਾ ਹੀ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਭੈਣ ਦੀ ਭੱਜ।
ਇਕੱਲੇ ਹੀ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਮੈਂ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਪਲਿਟ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਆ, ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ।
might see that scoreboard getting a little
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲਾ ਨੁਕਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਿਕਲਿਆ ਹਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਉੱਥੋਂ, ਬਾਕੀ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਪਏ।
Trying to shepherd Korea in a different direction.
ਪਹਿਲੇ ਵੀਤਨਾਮ ਵਾਲੇ ਭਾਜੀ
Korea
ਉੱਪਰ
would like
ਕੋਰੀਆ
to
ਇਕੱਲੇ ਹੀ ਖੜਾ,
try
ਉਹ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ
find some
ਬਚਦਾ
space
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲਾ।
directly south.
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲਾ ਗੋਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਲਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਭਾਜੀ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਮੂਰੇ ਵੀਤਨਾਮ ਵਾਲੇ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਤਿੰਨ ਖੜੇ ਆ, ਜੇ ਇੱਕ ਤੇ ਗੋਲੀ ਚਲਾਤੀ ਬਾਕੀ ਨਿਬੇੜਨਗੇ।
Rotating more their direction, but it's actually China as well. Find some
ਦੋ ਬੰਦੇ
long
ਨੇ
range shots
ਕਰੇ।
there.
ਅਜੀ ਉੱਬਾ ਉਹਨੋਂ ਹਟ ਗਿਆ, ਉੱਬਾ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਵਾ?
Fucking salute.
ਉਬਾ
Sparking.
ਹਾਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਹੈ ਭਾਈ।
ਉਹ ਭਾਜੀ ਲਾਈਵ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਟਵਿਚ ਤੇ ਇਕੱਲਾ ਹੀ।
Canada, that grenade from Adam.
ਇੱਕ ਉਹ ਚਾਈਨਾ 'ਚ ਹੈਗਾ XMPL, ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਵਾ?
Profit.
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ,
Oh boy.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ।
Turkey and Argentina.
XMPL ਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 5 ਅੱਖਰ।
ਦੋ ਤਿੰਨ ਨਾਮ ਅਸਲ ਵੱਧ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਦੋ ਤਿੰਨ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ।
Because Chinese Taipei is in there
ਟਿਕਲਟਨ
as
ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ
well
ਸੀ,
with
ਕਿਕ
a
ਸਟਾਰਟ।
lot.
ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਬਸ ਉਹ ਫੇਵਰੇਟ ਟੀਮਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨਾ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਸੋਨਿਕ ਵਾਲੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ ਟਿਕਲਟਨ।
ਫੇਵਰਟ ਟੀਮਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਬਾਅਦ ਲੋਕ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਦੀ ਪੋਸਟਾਂ ਪਾਸਟਾਂ ਵਾਇਰਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ,
ਉਹੀ ਉਹੀ
ਉਹ ਨੇ।
For the USA, as if they need any more help at this point.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੋਰ ਇੱਕ।
Good timing from China.
ਆ ਮਿੰਗ ਮਿੰਗ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ, ਮਿੰਗ ਮਿੰਗ ਵਧੀਆ ਖੇਡਿਆ ਸੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਟੂਰਨਾਮੈਂਟ 'ਚ।
They need to move anyway. So now it's
ਮਿੰਗ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਮ 'ਚ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਾਲਾ,
you could kick Canada off the top of this, but you're still going to have to
ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ XMPL, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਟੀਮ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮਿੰਗ, ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਚਾਈਨਾ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਆ XMPL ਜਾਂ ਵੀ।
fancy shooters on that Chinese team. Xavier needs some damage. K pinned beneath this hill. That's really tough. Yeah, Kane's even getting involved.
ਯੂਕੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਪਲੇਅਰ ਫਸ ਗਏ ਫਿਰ।
I don't think that that's going to be
ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਵਾਲੇ?
a story for the
ਯੂਕੇ ਵਾਲੇ
ਪਿੱਛੇ ਖੜੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ।
ਥੋੜੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਘੱਟ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਨਾ ਦੀ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮ ਦੀ, ਇੱਥੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਕਰ ਲਓ।
Ace left two. Oh,
ਟੀਮ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਘਟਾਈ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ, ਮੈਂ 5 ਤੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ।
just duck and dive with that headshot line, but
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲੇ
ਓਕੇ
not too much to do.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਗਏ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ।
Well, they haven't quite landed, but here comes Xiao Dudi, and I think that will be the end of
ਕੱਲਾ ਹੀ
Team
ਬਚਿਆ।
ਚਾਈਨਾ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਨਿਬੇੜਦੇ ਭਾਜੀ, ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਗਏ।
But the might of China bearing down upon
15ਵੇਂ ਨੰਬਰ ਤੇ ਗਏ ਵਿਚਾਰੇ।
too much to ask.
Still though, China has another squad to go through.
ਚਿਨ ਬॉय
Yeah, that's true.
ਚੀਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ, ਮੂਰੇ ਬ੍ਰਾਜ਼ੀਲ ਬੈਠੀ ਆ।
That's a great knock. Good opener there.
ਬ੍ਰਾਜ਼ੀਲ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਮੂਰੇ।
ਗੱਡੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਪਲਟੀ ਹੈ ਦੇਖਿਓ।
Sparking.
ਭਾਜੀ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗਈ? ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੋ ਗਈ। ਤੁਰਕੀ ਆ ਸੈਂਟਰ 'ਚ, ਇੰਡੋਨੇਸ਼ੀਆ, ਥਾਈਲੈਂਡ, ਜਰਮਨ।
Now he's under pressure from the USA.
ਟਿਕਲਟਨ ਹੁਣੀ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ।
ਆ ਗਏ ਲਿਊਕ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ, ਟਿਕਲਟਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ।
I don't hear any shots.
ਅਜਾ ਥਰਡ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਕਰਤੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਕੋਰੀ ਕਰਨ ਭਾਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਟਿਕਲਟਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ।
Just bloomed in time.
ਆ ਹੁਣ ਆਇਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਸੀਨ। ਹਾਂ
Okay.
ਪੂੰਜੇ 'ਚ ਘੇਰ ਲਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ।
Brazil might come up with two, but I'm not sure how you get out of that.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਾਸ ਚਾਂਸ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਟੀ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਉਹ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਜਿੱਤਣ ਗਿਆ ਫਾਈਟ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਾਈਟ ਹੋਊਗੀ। ਚਾਈਨਾ ਗਈ ਭਾਜੀ, ਮਰ ਗਈ।
Ningming actually got a blue zone nade in onto the Kraken, So as soon as he gets picked back up,
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਾਲੇ ਉਧਰੋਂ ਫਾਈਟ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਇੱਧਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਵੀਤਨਾਮ ਨਾਲ
here for the remaining
ਬੜੀ
members
ਕੋਰ
of
ਵਾਲੇ
Brazil.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਲੋ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਘੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਐ ਫਸਦੇ ਨੇ ਲੋਕ ਗੱਪੇ ਹਨਾ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਐ
A little
ਪੂਰਾ
bit higher on this hill, they might be able to spot him out still.
ਨਿਕਲ ਜੇ ਲੈ
Bigger fish to
ਉਹ
fry
ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ
for Korea. You know, they have to move.
And they don't have much.
ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਨਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਗੇਮ ਸੈਂਸ ਭਾਜੀ ਬਾਲੀ ਅਲਟਰਾ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੀ ਆ
ਆ ਦਿਆ ਕੰਪਾਊਂਡ ਜਿਹਾ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ ਕਿ ਛੋਟਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਘੇਰੇ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨੌਕ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਇੱਕ
Thailand's one of them. I think it's UK up on, or excuse me,
ਮਾੜਾ ਉਹ ਪੈਰ ਇਹ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਮਾੜਾ
ਭਾਜੀ ਆਹੀ ਆ ਉਹੀ ਆ ਵੀਤਨਾਮ ਵਾਲਾ ਆ ਹਾਈ ਸਾਕੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਟੋਲ ਵੀ ਲਾ ਲਿਆ ਮਤਲਬ ਫਸ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਭਾਜੀ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆ ਗਏ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦੇ
Code Marco. Did he get missed? Okay, now he's getting shot at.
Open.
USA goes for the seat swap. Trimsy gets
ਟ੍ਰਿਮ ਜੀ ਬਚ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ 3 ਦੀ ਹੈਲਥ ਤੇ
side seat.
3 HP. This is madness. USA, it's like a demolition derby. I don't know. They're trying out their own version.
ਨੇੜ ਆਊ ਭਾਜੀ ਅੰਦਰ
ਰੀਲੋਡ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਸਾਲੇ ਸੀ ਕੋਲ ਆ ਕੇ
Those things in America.
ਆ ਕੀ ਫੁੱਦੂ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਨੇੜ ਕਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਅੰਦਰ
They've managed to, I guess, more or less make it work. Birdie, the only
ਮਾਰਤੇ
loss for USA on what ends up being a very risky rotation.
ਉਹਨੇ ਸਟਨ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਅੰਦਰ
That they take
ਸਾਥੀ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਹੀ ਬਚੇ ਸੀ
They lose a player, they get 5 points. I think that's acceptable for US in this situation.
ਜਾਪਾਨ ਵਾਲੇ
Meanwhile,
ਕੱਚੇ
Vietnam,
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਘੇਰੀ ਗਈ ਭਾਜੀ
troubles for Korea, who really are under the pump now.
Look at this angle.
ਟਿਗਲਟਨ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ
They have great firing lines and
Oh. ਵੀਤਨ
ਪੂਰਾ
safe proning there. I think might have been getting shot from a different
ਨਾ ਟਿਗਲਟਨ ਦਾ ਐਂਗਲ ਜਿਹਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਇਆ ਦਿਖਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਹੋਰ ਹੀ ਦੂਰੋਂ ਜੀ
quickly knocked. Evan and
ਤੁਰਕੀ
Salute
ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਗਏ
still on their feet.
ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਫਸ ਗਏ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ ਫਿਰ ਪੰਗਾ ਵਿਚਾਲੇ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ
Salvage this round for Korea. Vietnam now.
ਭਾਈ ਬੈਟਰ ਰੋਇਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਇਹ 'ਚ ਭਾਜੀ ਕੋਈ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਇਹ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਗੇਮ ਆ
For them, but here comes
ਹਾਂ ਹਰੇਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਲੱਗ ਹੋਣਾ ਇਹ ਸੀਨ
ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹੀਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਹੀਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਘੇਰ ਕੇ ਖੜ ਗਏ
Salute. Only one left in this shack for Korea. Not much likely that he can do in this round, but you never know.
ਚਾਰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ
All
ਟਿਕਟ
four
ਹੈ
members of Australia are committed to the
ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਕੋਲੇ ਹਾਂ ਪੰਜ ਕਿੱਲਾ ਭਾਜੀ
up the south,
ਪੰਜ
the
ਹੋ ਗਿਆ
southwest. Salute's got a little window of safety. Let's just call it as he peeks through the window there. And I mean, look, he could definitely still cause a couple of problems here for Vietnam. And at this point,
ਲੂਟ ਪੰਗੇ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹਾਈ ਸਾਕੀ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨੇ ਲਾ ਦੇਣਾਗਾ
for another placement point or two, then that's still going to be useful.
ਡਰਿੰਕ ਲਾ ਲਈ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਹਨਾ
Zone shift has gone south.
ਇਹਦਾ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ
towards
ਦਿੰਦੇ
Germany and the USA.
Well,
ਚਲੋ ਭਾਈ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਰਵਟ ਬਦਲ ਦੀ
we saw them driving
ਬਸ ਹੁਣ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਦੇ ਫੇਵਰ 'ਚ ਗਿਆ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ ਆ
into the map.
ਇਹ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਥਾਈਲੈਂਡ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਤੇ ਆਹ
Pretty Curdy and Team USA.
ਵੀਤਨਾਮ
That
ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ
was
ਜਮੀ
given
ਯੂਐਸ
to them.
ਜਮੀ
They
ਸੈਂਟਰ
had
ਕਰਦੇ
to
ਨੇ
earn
ਜਮੀ
that.
ਸੈਂਟਰ
It's a little bit more important now for Australia to
ਹਾਂ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਜੀ ਹੁਣੀ ਡ੍ਰੌਪ ਕੋਲੇ
if they're going to have to actually jostle for positioning with Vietnam, with Thailand, potentially with Salute from Korea still as well.
ਇਹ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੀਲੀਆਂ ਵਰਦੀ ਪਈ ਨੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ
For
ਪੀਲੀਆਂ
the
ਵਰਦੀ
moment, but Thailand is 4 strong, or for the moment they were 4 strong. Kimas will knock one down and actually finishes off Nurans as well. That's crazy.
I mean, those players on Vietnam. Just couldn't
ਜੇਕਬ ਹਾਂ ਜੇਕਬ ਹੈਗਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਹੈਂ। ਅੱਛਾ ਪਲੇਅਰ ਜੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਨਾ
chance was there. Salute's actually going to capitalize.
ਭਾਈ ਨਿਮੇੜ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ
Daisaki.
But at the end of the day,
ਵੀਤਨਾਮ ਵਾਲੇ ਨਿਮੇੜ ਤੇ ਹਲ ਨੇ ਸਲੂਟ ਨੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਨੇ
for Australia, there's going to be less teams worrying about the northern side of the zone, and even Thailand losing a player means they're now down to 3. So honestly, yeah, Australia don't pick up the points, but they do pick up the
It's a win-win because you either get the kill points or the placement points.
ਚੈੱਕ ਹੋ ਜੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਹੁਣ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲਾ ਜਾਊਗਾ
Ideally, you'd like to have your cake and eat it too, but yeah,
ਬਚ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਨੇੜ ਤੋਂ
okay, still, no doubt, they'll be very happy with that. What is going on? Fluky's got a machine gun. He's got the M249. He's running around. Yeah, just looking for the DACA. See if he can find it. Tiggleton driving a little bit further ahead, trying to play point as the IGL for Australia for this event. Not a DMR shot, just being traded all around.
I mean, you can really see how they're jostling for position with Thailand right now. It really feels like Thailand versus Australia.
ਟਿਗਲਟਨ ਨੇੜ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ
That's the main battle that's going on because USA, they're set up nicely. Germany's also set up nicely. They're not going to be doing anything. And then you kind of just have Salute in there as a wild card. We'll see what, obviously, he can get up to. I feel at the moment he's a little bit more of a threat to Thailand than Australia, but once Australia have to move down a little further south, that will
ਮਾਰਤਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਵਾਲਾ
Monty will clear that issue out.
ਟਿਗਲਟਨ ਨੌਕ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹਾਂ ਥਾਈਲੈਂਡ ਵਾਲੇ ਪੁਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਲੈ ਤੇ
$5 ਮਹਿੰਗੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ
ਕਿਹੜੀ
ਐਕਸਪੀਡੀਸ਼ਨ
Timing here, so good for Thailand.
ਸਨੋਡਨ ਵਰਗੀ ਆ
Saw that kill. They knew the attention of some Australia players were
ਭਾਜੀ
going
ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੋਟਲ ਮੈਨੇਜਰ ਡਾਊਨਲੋਡ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਮੋਟਲ ਮੈਨੇਜਰ
to strike.
Oh,
Yardi
yeah.
Perez onto the leader, but it's a great
ਕਮਰੇ ਕਿਰਾਏ ਤੇ ਦੇਣੇ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ
Get the knock on
Eh?
Tiggleton. Bud and Monty trying to do what they can to keep the flanks clear.
ਅੱਛਾ ਮੋਟਲ
ਮੋਟਲ ਹਾਂ
Ooh,
ਭਾਜੀ ਲਾ ਗਿਆ ਫਲੂਕੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਕੱਲ ਇੱਕ ਰਹਿ ਗਿਆ। ਨਵੇੜ ਤੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਥਾਈਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ।
ਸਭ ਨੇ ਮਾਰ ਗਏ ਬਾਈ, ਮਾੜੇ ਮਾੜੇ
ਉਹ ਫਸ ਗਏ ਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ, ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ
ਬੋਲੇ ਸਪਰੇ।
M24 ਨਾਲ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਫਿਰਦਾ ਸੀ ਖਿੱਚੀ ਗੱਲ ਭਾਈ। ਫਿਰ ਉਹੀ ਟੀਮਾਂ ਰਹਿ ਗਈਆਂ ਭਾਜੀ। ਐਤਕੀ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਚਾਂਸ ਕੀ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ? ਹੁਣ ਲਾਓ ਭਾਜੀ ਬੈਟ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਤੇ ਲਾਉਣੀ ਆ? ਜੇਕਬ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੌਸਲੇ ਚ ਭਾਜੀ। ਮਾਈਕਾ, ਅੱਛਾ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਮਾਈਕਾ। ਮਾਈਸਾ ਕਿ ਨਾਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ? ਮਾਈਕਾ
ਯੂਐਸ ਵਾਲੇ ਫੇਰ 2 ਇਨ ਰੋ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ।
ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ। ਜਰਮਨੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਆ ਜੀ। ਕਿੱਕ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਨੌਕ ਪਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ, ਗਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਮਾੜੀ ਜੀ ਨਿਗਾਹ ਚੜ ਕੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ। ਮਰ ਗਿਆ ਮਰ ਗਿਆ। ਆ ਫਲੂਕੀ ਫੇਰ ਚੱਲਿਆ। ਏ ਫਲੂਕੀ ਘੇਰ ਲਿਆ ਭਾਈ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ। ਫਲੂਕੀ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਘੁੰਮੂਗਾ, ਗਿਆ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਹਰ। ਫਲੂਕੀ ਦਾ ਨੌਕ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਚਲੋ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਚ ਗਿਆ।
ਸਨੋਕੀ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ, ਸਨੋਕੀ
ਰੋਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਲੈਫਟ ਦੀ।
ਹਾਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਬੇਸਲੀ ਜੇ
ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਖੜਾਈ ਬੈਠਾ ਸੀਗਾ।
ਜੇ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਗੇਮ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਚਲੋ ਭਾਈ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾਂ ਆਰ ਜਾਂ ਪਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ।
ਜੇਕਬ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ, ਜੋ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮਰ ਜਾ ਮਰ ਜਾ ਮਰ ਜਾ ਮਰ ਜਾ ਮਰ ਜਾ। ਜੇ ਗਿਆ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਨਾ ਗਿਆ ਜੇਕਬ। ਹੁਣ ਘਟ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਇਹਦਾ ਚਾਂਸ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਥਾਈਲੈਂਡ ਵਾਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਹੀ ਮਾਰਨਗੇ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਦੇ ਭਾਜੀ, ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ। ਜ਼ੋਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਭਾਜੀ
ਇਹਦਾ ਪਰ ਗੱਲ ਗਲਤ ਆ।
ਹੌਸਲਾ ਛੱਡ ਗਏ ਉਹ ਭਾਜੀ, ਬਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਹਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਣਾ।
ਲੇਕਿਨ ਗੱਲ ਗਲਤ ਹੈ, ਪੈਨਲਟੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਅਗਲੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਆ। ਤੁਸੀਂ
ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਭਾਜੀ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ੋਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ?
ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਭਾਜੀ ਨਹੀਂ
ਸਪੋਰਟਸਮੈਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਹੈਗੀ। ਫਿਰ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਬਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ। ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਕਿੱਲ ਦੇ ਦੋ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਫਰਕ ਪੈ ਜਾਊਗਾ?
ਪੁਆਇੰਟਾਂ ਦਾ ਫਰਕ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਭਾਜੀ ਲਾਸਟ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ, ਉਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਰੌਲਾ।
ਵੀਰੇ ਪੁਆਇੰਟਾਂ ਫਰਕ ਪੈਂਦਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਰੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ। ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਦੂਜੀ ਟੀਮ ਦੀ ਹਿੰਮਤ ਆ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਰ ਲਓ। ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹਾਂ, ਮਤਲਬ ਉਦਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇਹਦੇ ਚ ਕਹਿ
ਇਹ ਸਪੋਰਟਸਮੈਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਆ ਚੀਜ਼। ਚਲੋ ਭਾਜੀ ਸੀ ਯੂ
ਓਕੇ ਭਾਜੀ। ਹੁਣ ਚੱਲੇਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ? ਹੈਲੋ
it felt even more impossible, honestly, for the US because the control of that zone for Germany was absolutely insane, and you could see like that split, that crossfire that they've been able to set up. So coming back from that one.
This play is going to live rent-free in my head for a while.
Yeah, I think it might live rent-free in Norway's head as well. Yeah, it should have honestly been. Norway just cleans up. Was it Tede that got caught? I think, you know, clean up Tede, off you go, you're on your rotation. You've lost maybe 20-30 seconds, but yeah. Didn't work out that way, and that's just PUBG sometimes, right?
Oh, this was almost disaster for USA in the beginning of this too, but they were able to survive the demolition derby, as you called it, get through there. Good game from Australia. Good zone control, honestly, like doing a really nice job of kind of trying to find their timings. I mean, if this doesn't happen, you know, if Fluky doesn't hit that great transfer with the machine gun, it could be a very different round. They could be the ones in Thailand's place. Yeah, they might not win the match, but get those extra points, get a few more kills potentially. Really good, solid stuff. Seeing some teams with some good ideas. I really
ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਐਂ ਕਰ ਕਿੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਨਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਆਪ ਇਹ।
Win the match, but get those extra points, get a few more kills potentially. Not win the match, but get those extra points, get a few more kills potentially.
ਸ਼ਰਮ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਅੱਛਾ ਆਪਦੇ ਵੱਲ ਤੇ ਨੇੜ ਕੀਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ।
Solid stuff. Seeing some teams with some good ideas. I'm really impressed with the way Germany handled that end game. Like, that is tremendous map awareness. Absolutely tremendous.
네, 제 두 번째 치킨 디너는 독일에게 갔습니다. 독일의 미카 선수 인터뷰 만나보겠습니다. The second chicken dinner of the day goes to Germany, and I'm joined by Mika. Hello, congratulations, Mika.
마이카님 미카 되나 해?
말이 아주 좋습니다. 일단 시작하자마자 이렇게 치킨 디너를 가져가는 물어보도록 하겠습니다. You're off to a good start. How's that chicken dinner feeling?
It's feeling great. Like, our first game wasn't that good, to be honest. But like coming into the second game.
됐다고 합니다. roster. So how's that Payne's addition? What's the difference? What does he bring to the table?
Hayes is a really good fighter in Germany. He's known for like shouting in competition, so he fits the team pretty well. And yeah, overall, he's just a good addition to the, like as a fourth player. Yeah. He can be a big hype man for sure.
이제 페인즈 선수가 정말 플레이깅을 엄청 잘하는 선수고요. 그리고 경기 중에 좀 이제 소리 지르는 거로 유명한데 그래서 분위기나 텐션에 이렇게 아주 좋은 기여를 하고 있다고 합니다. 팀 독일의 미카 선수 인터뷰 만나봤습니다. Congratulations again, Mika. Thank you for the interview. Wish you the best of luck. Alright, 분석 데스크 만나보도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you very much, Bella and Mika, for that interview. I mean, yeah, Payne's there. You know, they're saying he's bringing the damage, he's bringing the energy. Well, and he even said it. That was a bit of a risky split they had going, and but they're so smart that they can make those splits work.
Fortune favors the bold, right? Like the 2-2 split. If you make it work, it obviously puts you in a really good position to be able to just sort of play the percentages, let's just say. And obviously for Germany there, yeah, being able to get it done, it's always good to see. And so I think obviously early days, you know, we still need to kind of see a little bit more from Germany before we're like really convinced that they're going to be a super big contender. Because again, coming into today, I don't know that they were necessarily one of those teams that we were looking at and saying they definitely will be like a top 5 team. But they have the ability, as we've seen just now. So maybe this could be the best performance from Germany in a Nations Cup.
It's an unorthodox style that Germany's going to player like Brex. Again, been around for a very long time in PUBG esports. 3 kills, 388 damage. Yeah, maybe not blowing the doors off of you in terms of kill numbers for the entirety of the Germany squad, but slow and steady wins the race sometimes, and then just some really good positioning.
Yeah, 36% of the points contribution as well. Obviously, that's a pretty good shout, right? You want to be, in an ideal world, probably seeing 25% split for each player, but he's picking up some extra points over the rest of the lads, and see if that can continue for Germany. But I mean, apart from that, I think the big storyline coming out of that game and out of the first 2 games is USA. I mean, another really good game from them. 11 points, not as big as the first one, but you put the 2 and 2 together and you're getting 4, and certainly more than that for USA at the moment. Thailand also popping up in there. They were a team that we were hopeful, I think is probably a good word to describe them. We were hopeful that they were going to do well, and you know, kind of keeping it rolling along, which is kind of nice to see. So happy with that from them. But again, it's kind of the usual suspects to up there towards the top end. It's USA, it's Korea, again, we talk a lot about Australia. Vietnam had an okay day so far as well.
Yeah. I mean, most of the teams are kind of doing good enough that you would expect.
Yeah.
Some of the favorites coming into this. I think USA has just come out the gate swinging.
Easily the most consistent.
Yeah, they look really solid in their macro game right now. In particular, is really causing some of these other teams problems, because a lot of teams that maybe would normally have some open space or some opportunities are getting outmaneuvered and getting outpaced because of these decisions that USA is making. They are really challenging because of these for any decisions that USA is making. And yeah, they're really challenging the points of Vietnam right now. So awesome start for them. A lot of teams really close though in the middle of that pack. Honestly, you know, 10 points separating 10th and 2nd. So yeah, that's a chicken dinner.
Well, that's what you're going to get 2 games into any tournament. So that'll obviously blow out at some point. We're expecting that definitely. In particular, you know, I have to look at, I think, Japan, China, Argentina, probably the 3 that are worrying me the most so far. Argentina, I think you can say, have gotten themselves into a couple of awkward positions and just sort of suffered as a result of that one. China not looking like they've really been competitive at all, and honestly, I haven't really noticed Japan either, and I think that's for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, Japan is back to that very safe edge style that they just don't have the firepower, the confidence that it feels like to make those kind of maneuvers work. So again, that's why I talked about at the beginning of the show. I need to see Japan accelerate, really be decisive in some of those moments to get those kills, because the placements aren't going to come anyway. Might as well see what you can get out of just fighting and see if you can build some confidence.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, 1/3 of the day done already, right? And you're sitting on 3 points. It's not an event that lasts very long. Like 3 days goes by like that when it comes to these kinds of things. So if you don't get the ball rolling early on in the piece, you go into day 2 or day 3 and you're not feeling confident. It's like, well, it's too late now to build that confidence. So have to be doing it now. Have to be doing it going into maybe into Tego, into Rondo. You know, you're maybe not as comfortable. So you could try and throw something a little bit different in there.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we are going to take a short break. We'll be back soon with more from PNC 2024. It's going to be Tego and Rondo coming up next. Very excited to see how those play out. You don't want to go anywhere. Action just beginning. It's just the first day here for PNC. And I think we are ready to go to a break. So we'll be back shortly, guys. We'll see you soon.
You made me live. I'm not alone. You never trip. You're calling me home. Don't plead in the fifth. I know you a tone. Ain't no talk on the phone. You look in my eyes. I know that you're close. You ain't no drop back. Ain't nobody block that. Heavenly blessing, a steady supply. Ain't nobody drop back. You want it forever. You king of the hill. No one get the rock back. Ain't nobody start that. Every bottle you fought that. You made me live. I'm not alone. You never trip. You're calling me home. No plead in the fifth. I know you a tone. Ain't no talk on the phone. You look in my eyes. I know that you're close. You ain't no drop back. Ain't nobody block that. Heavenly blessing, a steady supply. Ain't nobody drop back. You want it forever. You king of the hill. No one get the rock back. Ain't nobody start that. Every battle you fought that. No, you never lost. Cause I'm learning that they cannot take away all that you gave me. It's all that you're making. I'm singing your praise and my worries are fading. I know that you save me. Lord, teach me to deal with this stress. I feel like I'm falling, I need you to catch. I sing hallelujah, my weapon is rest. 1,000 hallelujahs to my King. We praise you. 1,000 hallelujahs to my King.
A lot.
They're very good on Tango.
And so I have to imagine that if anyone's going to be comfortable, it'll be them. Especially with the way things have been going so far. But it's time for us to jump into game number 3. And indeed, it will be Tago.
Very excited to see what our teams have in store for us. Hapo is located on the westernmost part of the main island. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that is facts.
No change-ups to Tago just yet. That's coming again in the next patch, so been keeping an eye on that. Don't worry about it for now.
I'm actually not sure what the ha means in Hapo. I know what like a lot of the names mean in Korean on this map.
Right.
Po means port.
Okay.
I'm not sure about ha. Anyway,
Could it be Westport?
maybe. No, ha's not west.
Okay. I mean, it was just a guess. I don't speak Korean, so could be.
It's a decent guess, actually. Like Heimusa means sunny beach temple, I think, or sunny coast temple.
Righto.
Yeah. Yongchon means dragon river, or dragon creek. Yeah. There you go. There's your Korean.
Korean lesson for the day.
That's right.
I need one a day. Give me one a day. If I learn one word a day, I'll be happy. Because then my total Korean output will be probably 5 to 8 words instead of 1 to 3. We'll take it. Anyway.
I'm trying to help you as best I can. You only have a short amount of time, so we have to really cram that knowledge in.
Correct. As far as playing path is concerned, I think most people can be pretty happy with that one. Doesn't favor anyone too hard. Everyone will be able to stretch out to where they need to. Speaking of Harpo, that's where Australia are kind of headed for the moment. So,
Oh.
Speak of the devil.
Alice looks like it's USA territory for this one. Korea is going to be going Yongchon. I mean, basically, if you've been paying attention, you could probably deduce that Korea's drops are Danawa's drops. Kind of put that one together. Indonesia, that would be the craziest shot I've ever seen if you hit those, Teddy. I mean, you hit some nasty ones in the previous game, but that is long distance SLR shooting. And
Worth trying.
Yeah, northeast.
Oh, hang on. What's going on here? Is James on a bit of a mission?
He's got a pistol. Oh, no. He knows he's faster than that buggy, too.
Oh, this is so mean. No way. This is illegal, bro. Come on. You can't be doing this.
Oh, you got a shot.
One more. Oh, he's been turned away.
Ran out of bullets.
Yeah. Only one more of those shots needed to connect. I respect it. That's Giga Chat gameplay. Honestly.
I love James, man.
That's an alpha male kind of gameplay, but doesn't work out.
That's just tremendous understanding of
Limits.
Yeah,
That's what that is. That's limit testing.
I love it. That's the kind of stuff I want to see at PNC.
Yeah. Yeah, man, especially when you're a team which doesn't really have a whole lot to lose. I don't think Norway, like, no one's going into this going, man, Norway's got to win. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably a little bit more pressure on a team like Korea, for example, or maybe China. But Norway, it's like, well, it's your first PNC. We don't really know. So, have a bit of fun.
Yeah. I mean, you know, talking to some of the players, a lot of them come in with that attitude that, yeah, we're underdogs, so,
Yeah.
you know, there isn't pressure on us. We can come out here and have a bit of fun and just try to play the best we can and, you know, let the cards fall where they may. Germany, though, I mean, Germany, I think historically, you know, you have to think back to the original PNC in 2019 where they were playing really, really well. I think there is pressure on them a little bit to try to perform.
Okay.
To really do a something special here. I mean, I know they want to win. They're very, you know, a confident team, a good team. Evan, seeing a few players, some vehicles, drives up the side of the hill. Should be a-okay. Yeah.
So you think maybe Germany's underperformed a little bit? I mean, 16th in 2022.
Not today.
But
Previous.
no, not today. I mean, more so like in previous
Yeah.
seasons or years of Nations Cup.
2022, yes.
Yeah.
But I think like they've really impressed me with their just creativeness. So
Right.
that's where I really think that they can do some damage. As we saw in that previous game, they kind of push for some splits that maybe a lot of other teams wouldn't.
Yep.
And that could also be anticipation or understanding of their opponents. I mean, that just could be them reading Thailand,
Sure.
like, and where they were going to try to rotate and reading the terrain.
I mean, not many changes as well for Germany. Like even Kowo goes from a player to a coach, so you know your outfit really, in general, doesn't change that much either. So I think that helps from year to year.
Well, now you don't have your dedicated, you know, Panzerfaust/mortar guy, so you know you're gonna have to do it in other ways.
Yeah. We want to be number one as we planned. All right. Respectable. Shoot for the stars.
I think they have a real shot. I like this Thailand team. I like the way they've been performing this year, and they've been getting themselves into those late games relatively successfully, not with a ton of resistance on the way through to getting into, you know, those top 5 positions in each game. So certainly if they can just string together some good late games, make a little bit better decisions towards those moments, they have a real chance. Speaking of what is normally a Thailand team special, the gliders actually going to be barred. He's out early.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of info to be gathered that there's just absolutely nobody on the northern side right now. I mean, USA, obviously in Palace, but they're well behind UK as far as this rotation is concerned. 8C, oh my word, how is he alive? He might not be for much longer. That nade, it's going to be a long toss, but it might just get there. Not quite. I think you're going to have to, yeah, ditch the car and run. Sometimes when you get mugged, it's like, all right, have my wallet.
Just leave.
Just have the car.
Yeah, it's all yours.
You can take it.
I didn't need it anyway.
Here's the keys. They're in the ignition.
I can walk.
I just filled it up. You don't even have to pay for petrol. Off you go. Just leave me with my life.
Yeah, that's good positioning there from James, though, relieving that pressure from the rest of Norway, from 8C. They're able to at least claim this compound now.
Yep.
So James is going to continue, though.
Yeah, he's going to keep rolling around doing some scouting there, but
Yep.
yeah, lines up nicely. All good. Turkey well aware of Norway's positioning at this point in time. Particularly interested to see how things are going to go here for Thailand and for Australia, because those are the two teams that are way on the outskirts trying to rotate their way into this zone.
Thailand's literally on the map edge.
Yeah, they couldn't be any further south than they already are. And Australia are only just now crossing over to the Northern Island, and it might be a little difficult for them to get back over to the mainland if that's the way that the zone ends up shifting. Obviously, there's a lot of places that you can cross on Tago, but it's getting pretty busy already.
I would normally say, like, somebody can go up to the mini shipyard and then grab a boat and go over to the other shipyard or go further around and get in that way. However, Germany is doing something a very huge 2-2 split. I mean, literally a kilometer apart right now. That's not going to last, I'm sure, but
It's a risk, but it's one that will potentially pay off. If this ends up being a hard northern shift, like that's kind of what they're like keeping in mind, right? If it goes hard north, we just move back to shipyard, but chances are they probably end up grouping on the center shift.
I mean, I think if you're looking at the way the first 2 games played out, right, and you're looking at the tempo and the speed and the aggressiveness, there hasn't been much in the early part of the game. So you could actually probably get away with these.
Take the gamble.
Yeah. I like this call from Germany, to be honest.
Especially when you know that you're the team that's northern dropping. Everyone else is rotating up from the south. If anything, the congestion is going to be below you, you know, around the southern half of this zone. I think it's a pretty good gamble, actually. You're right, from Germany.
Speaking of
Putting two
congestion,
together.
yeah, I got a little bit.
This is cheeky from USA. They're being very quiet. Scary.
How much does Michael know? He's checking.
I don't think he knows anything.
Well, Hisaki has found Ipa. It's going to be a little bit of parting gift for Hisaki there, bullet in the back, but He's going to be able to get out of there, no problem. Trap sprung by the United States. T-Bone out in the open with a motorcycle. One more bullet's going to do the trick. Trying to use those hay bales, not going to do much. Trimsy has the knock. Snakers gets the flush. Michael has to abandon his teammate's body.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's been a bit of a rough day, honestly, for the UK. They lost the first player, or one of the first players in Miramar, and now the same on Tego. And honestly, they've been kind of keeping that scoreboard ticking over. But if you keep losing a player early on in the piece, it just makes it so much more difficult. Speaking of which, Argentina might be okay here to get people back up.
Well, I think what's interesting is I am seeing a lot of the same ideas from the UK that we saw in 2022 when they won the event, where they're playing edge early, just trying to control some space and then move when they can, find their moments. But like you just said, they're getting picked apart because of it, because there's always a team that seems to be a little bit later than they're expecting.
Right. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for UK because, again, they were doing such a good job scouting, right? They had Vard in the glider and probably felt like they had a really good understanding of what was happening around their position in that zone, but sometimes you miss things.
And it's hard in this event because there isn't a ton to read onto how they're going to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you might be able to make pretty good educated guesses on Korea, for example.
Assumptions.
Yeah. But you're not going to be able to make good guesses on some other teams.
Sure.
You know, USA, you would think you have a pretty good understanding of how and when they're going to rotate, but you know, Gunnar, he'll throw curveballs at you. He's willing to take risks. Purdy too.
Yep.
They'll change things up, especially an event like this, right? It's not quite the same. There isn't that sort of, you've grinded hundreds of games of PUBG this year.
Whoa.
Together. Nope. That's stuck. You're gonna have somebody's got to come hit you.
Wait.
Here we go. This is the Thailand I know and love. Oh my God, this circle.
Australia's got to turn around, surely. Oh, no, they're not going to. Yeah, okay. Well, look, there's a lot to sort of deconstruct here. I was going to mention Australia because they were rotating their way on that northern island, and then I think they heard the shots between USA and UK, and they decided to turn around and go back to the mainland.
Now they're turning around again.
And now they're turning around again. So they could have actually probably already been in Yeongcheon if they hadn't turned around initially. That said, they might still be the first and maybe even only team that ends up on that northern island. Unless Thailand decides to go across, if they take this emergency parachute all the way.
They're usually looking for center with these parachute drops.
But if you're thinking about it, are you not thinking, well, there's probably not many teams on the northern island.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. They do not.
They don't. That's fine.
I would, if it was me, I'd be on the other side of that river.
Oh, this could be scary, man.
It's extremely dangerous.
They're just landing in the middle of like 3-4 teams. Korea, UK, US, Argentina. All going to be kind of having a look at that, but get away with it. Oh, what is going on here? Quizera. I mean, that's just, it's just unlucky. It's just a guy in the bush.
It happens. That's PUBG sometimes.
Smash your desk. Bush campers, man.
Bush campers, yeah. It do be like that, especially on this map. There's some bushes that are pretty easy to get yourself pretty well hidden in.
For sure. Well, yeah, this is going to be a wild game now. Australia is still the only team that's actually interested in the Northern Island, which is fair enough, honestly. Like, as far as zone shifts are concerned, this is probably still more likely to go back to the mainland, but it's going to be busy around that area of the map.
And this is
see it popping off.
This is what I'm worried about with Thailand. The position they had to drop in, because Korea probably already took the spot they were actually eyeing, is really tricky. Because you can't peek your heads up too much. You'll get shot by Korea. Now you've got Norway and Argentina.
Yep. Breathing down the back of your necks. And honestly, with all this shooting, like, I'm seeing Onyx kind of have a bit of a look as well. Pushing out. Just thinking about, can I pop on somewhere and get myself a free point? Here it is.
Ooh, he held fire.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got some good cover to work with going forward here, so
yes,
might just try to get an even better angle.
It's a little bit greedy though.
It is, but
that's the loop coming. They're really trying to, try to farm these kills.
If you're in Korea's shoes, though, you really want to be clearing things out as quickly as possible here, because it's going to get really messy later on. So this is perfect. Look at that. That is beautiful. Onyx and Salute, they read the situation so nicely. And that's the end of a couple of players of Thailand. Those guys are not getting back up.
Oh, and by the way, Seoul just knocked Silzen, who's trying to get involved in this fight. Korea has full control over this hill.
They're forging their position in the zone. It's not being given to them, right? And I think they recognize that this is going to be just a crazy game, right? There's teams all going to be rotating in onto this peninsula. We need to actually take that space now to give ourselves a little bit of room to play it later. Otherwise, we're going to get pushed at the back from Germany. Maybe like Indonesia's going to come across the bridge. You know, potentially what happens if Australia, a team comes from the northern bridge. You know, so it's going to be busy for Korea. We might as well get some points now. Yep. Take some space now.
And it reminds me a bit of their 20-point game. There's that shift you were talking about. Very likely to go to the other side. Already has in phase 3. But it reminds me a bit of that 20-point or that 20-kill game they had last year on Miramar, where they were very aggressive early and just kind of kept racking up kills, kept finding these moments to pick teams apart piece by piece. Now Norway has to turn their attention away from Argentina back toward their southern side.
Indonesia, Japan, joined Vietnam joined.
It's going to be 8Z up close and personal. Spectro, the other 3, trying to watch, trying to do a little bit of double duty, keeping that northern edge at bay, trying to keep those angles clear. Evan has Germany to worry about, so this is a little bit interesting. How well aware is Korea actually that the other 2 members of Germany are already on this coast to their north? I'm actually curious. Have they spotted this out? I mean, Heaven has only seen the vehicles as far as we can see, but how much more info do they have? That's my question.
That's a question I think we'll get the answer to a little bit later on. I'm sure Germany's going to be doing too much moving and shaking if they can avoid it for the moment. Vietnam is not one of those teams that really can play a little bit slower here. They're going to go right over the top onto Argentina. They had no idea. Scouting impossible for Vietnam in this situation, and so they're going to lose him as straight up. Clories gets taken down by James as well. That's a very ill-fated rotate from Vietnam.
Just a little bit of desperation there, trying to see if they could cut through some flat space that's up on top of this mountain, and that's really, really dangerous. There's an MG3 up there for Argentina as well. To make matters worse, there's a ton of firepower to be laid down to keep that flat terrain suppressed. Australia drifting, trying to be as quiet as they can on this southern approach. They've changed directions again. Didn't feel like they could cross that bridge, and I think they're probably correct in that decision-making, but there's no easy option for them. They're going to have to fight.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's very awkward if they don't get knocks, and they haven't. So they're going to duck their heads down. I mean, they have a little bit of pocket of safety for that next zone. Monty's just playing out on the edge, waiting to see if there's going to be any rotators in behind Australia, but they need to find their way forward, and that's what Tig is doing.
Except drifted. They have no idea he's here.
This is so bad. But, except he fired a couple of shots, right? Gave away his position, and Tig says, thank you very much for that one. That'll be a freebie. If nothing else, Australia getting a point. Flood's got another one there onto Big Big. Luke 12 gets knocked by Flood. I don't know what's going on there, but somehow, in the blink of an eye, Australia have just popped off, and China are on the receiving end of it. The nade. Goodbye, China. Australia survived for the moment, but I'm not sure how long that's going to last, quite honestly. This is a very, very awkward spot to be in. There's a lot of teams around here on the southern side of the zone.
Still, that's step 1 of many that they're going to need to, check off the list.
Look at this. Like, there's nowhere that's safe.
No, it is horrible. It is really not easy.
They've got to move.
Yes, they have to move. They've already expended a lot of smokes. There might be some extra sitting on those bodies of the Team China players, but good luck. It's going to be very, very challenging to get out of there. Still, even with that impressive play, to quickly eliminate China. A lot of work to be done. Germany stuck on the coast, stuck behind rocks, looking for maybe a rotate or somebody to kind of make a mistake, drift out a little bit too far, but Korea is not keen on doing that because, again, they control all this space in front of them.
This is the benefit of what they did earlier, right? They had to take some space earlier on in the piece when they could. If they had have waited, I don't think this would be possible, this move. Too many teams up on top of the hill or around or in this building.
Be a lot harder.
If nothing else, it would definitely be a lot harder. That's something I think you can take away. So, reaping what you sow. And in this case, Korea, let's put down a nice little vegetable patch. I don't know, some carrots, whatever.
Big fan of vegetables. Facts. Trying to do what he can. Gets one. Can he find the second? Not quite. Very close. That's very, very close. He's going to get a point out of it. Monty going to go down Flood as well. Vietnam, and here's that kind of difficult problem that Australia was going to face. Tiggleton just barely able to get into that shack.
Yeah, but again, here's the thing for UK. It should be 2 points, or Flood might have gotten stolen. The kill on Flood, I think, got stolen. at the end of the day, you know, they're still kind of in the mix, even though they're in an awkward spot, down a player. Like, they're still finding ways to get some points here and there. And that is always going to be important. Brazil trying to do the same. Been a bit of an up and down day for them too. This is I don't know, this is a spot that for Brazil looks a little bit precarious as well. All it takes is maybe Argentina to come up over the hill. You're doomed at that point. But Argentina have got bigger fish to fry. USA out to their west. Oh, he heard him coming. That's a cheeky peek.
Great timing from Tig.
Stolen.
Yeah, that's a great spray. He's at least able to buy himself the opportunity to get that res, or excuse me, to get that heal. But Luke stuck behind the hill.
Yeah, I think he's kind of doomed.
Yeah. That looks like a good grenade to me. Oh, it just bounced a little bit off to the side. So Luke is gonna reposition.
दूजा मारूरा इधरला सज्जा था ने मार देना.
He's getting helped by the USA.
अच्छा मगर उन्हें दूजा मार लाके फंस गए होना. वो फंस गए. यूके वाले चढ़े.
I don't know if he's maybe thinking about having a peek around that smoke for a second there, but perhaps a wiser choice.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਦੀ ਹੋਰ ਆ ਗਏ. ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਰਮਨੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਆ ਗਏ. ਦੂਜੇ ਮਗਰ ਹੀ ਭੱਜੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਆ. ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਆ, ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ, ਫਿਰ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ.
That knock, actually, they're going to peel back a little bit.
Important zone pull right here.
Luke is on the bar.
Center.
Germany, 2 games in a row. What are we thinking? I mean, they've got a bit of an uphill battle. That's for sure. USA's bleeding.
They can win this edge fight.
Yeah,
they're in a very good position to. It just depends on Korea. Is Korea going to get involved? Because they know that they have entire control of that hill up on the northern side of it. So this is basically like all like a flat-topped hill at the top of it. Not a slow-rolling action that goes on throughout a lot of that northern area. So it's just a matter of if they can find the space to get there.
Chinese Taipei
is going to confirm the end of Japan.
Japan वाले ने मारता.
Chinese Taipei 4 kills. Now they turn their attention to Indonesia.
भाई पर कहते Chinese Taipei अलग टीम आ. Vietnam अलग का.
How's he alive?
Clip the nails.
भाई Vietnam आ ना. Taiwan से Taipei एक साथ ही.
Not for long. Leo's found it.
That's a great shoot.
Picture perfect, really.
Taipei अलग नहीं, China अलग.
Probably not long for this world either. A little bit pear-shaped for
Taiwan
Korea,
no
having pushed out of their compound.
Taiwan.
Evan is stuck inside that smoke. He will get res. Trick. Good shot onto Tsennan. Can he maybe save the day here for Indonesia? That's coming in from Brazil now as well. Not looking likely.
That's tricky.
अपना हेड दे लत्ता मार दी.
Oh, he's just letting him go by. Yeah, fight here. 1 player left. Big go. Starting to do some damage. Behind this folding shield, trying to make it work as best he can. A grenade being thought about by Code Marco. Let loose, and it's going to be right on the money.
That's not fair, man. But he did get 1 extra point out of that one for Australia, so all things considered,
very
they
rough game
again.
They
were trying to find their little spot in the world. It just didn't seem like
मर गए 10 29 ਬੰਦੇ ਐਵਰੇਜ 3 ਬੰਦੇ ਹਰੇ ਕੱਲੀ ਕੋਰੀਆ ਕੋਲੇ 4 ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਨਾਰਵੇ ਕੋਲੇ 4 ਆ ਜਰਮਨ ਕੋਲੇ 4 ਆ ਤੀਜੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀਅਤਨਾਮ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਬਚਿਆ
just vibing, knows he needs to survive late. Taikon shouldn't be fighting anybody until there's like 10 people left if possible. If he can help it. Good grenade again. Splashes some damage into the USA players. Smokes in their faces now. Another grenade rolling in. I think it was just a stun maybe.
Yep.
Turkey trying to wipe the United States out, and they do.
That's good news for everybody else in the lobby. We're looking at that and licking their lips a little bit. Maybe a chance to overtake. Maybe not. USA's up on 40 points. That's quite a gap.
Jeez. Oh, no, no, no. The timing on that. I'm not sure if that was an intentional bait, but a grenade from South Korea coming underneath the hill. Seoul starting to push up as that knock. Oh my gosh, he sees 2 on the ground. That is so easy for him.
The other guy's inside the smoke, so he might not actually know that MX is there. Molotov into the smoke. Well, that'll probably just about do it. MX is burning. He's going to have to push out of it. Yeah,
अभी की हाल नहीं.
very well for Argentina. So
और कितना?
I was looking for him, and there's really only one place he can be. I think Soul's aware of that.
अभी ये
Around the
लाइव
smoke, wins the duel comfortably.
Soul's got a lot to worry about now, though. He's hearing so many shots. You can see him looking around on the screen because he's hearing the shots from a bunch of different directions. Has to be as aware of it as he can. See if he can find any more damage. Leo trying to play this rock as far as he can, but they're outside of the circle. Chinese Taipei on the outside looking in of this next one. Sparking, just gatekeeping. So Brazil already has a player on the zone. Try to do as much damage as possible. However, I say that, now that player's knocked. 8C just got.
क्या करी जांदे
Now a grenade coming in from Salute. Korea's just all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, fighting on multiple fronts, fair enough. But look at how much space they've got inside the zone right now. It's
Yeah,
actually
Neda,
madness how far
बच गया फिर
Soul is from the
Neda
rest of
बढ़
his
गया
team. Ionix at the back. He's kind of copping a few shots from downtown.
ब्राजील अभी तक क्यों
If
का
this
हम
works
पूरा
out
बना
for
लिया
Korea,
हेल्थकेयर
they almost win the game. Like, they have
ब्राजील
got
पे
a lot
4
of
किल हो
control of
गए
this next zone.
5
They need to take care of Brazil because Seoul is so far away from the rest of Korea. He's been given so much space and he just kept going.
Yeah.
He's like, surely there's got to be someone up over this next hill,
Turkey
right? Because
gay.
again, it's a really flat area on top of here. Turkey taken down. So our top 4 teams, Germany, Brazil, Norway, Korea.
4 टीम
Norway, Korea with 4 players.
जर्मन
up.
कोले
He's got 4
3
kills in a
कोरिया कोले 4
solid
नॉर्वे कोले 4
performance on Tego.
They're going to have to fight Germany, though, and they're about to. Both teams running in the same
South
direction.
what है
trying to
कोरिया
figure out
वाले
the southern flank. As long as you can get through this one without losing a player, then yeah, then Norway's in a good position. But that's easier said than done, especially with the way that Germany's playing at the moment. Kane's out on the flank. He might well find an angle. Mika's gone down early, but this is the problem. Mika
nade.
landing that nade from beyond the grave onto James might at least secure a kill for Norway. It's just down to Payne.
Oh, 8Z gets struck from behind. Right as he went in, Seoul hears those shots and comes out.
नॉर्वे तो जर्मनी तो नहीं चकते इन्होंने
So Germany and
कोरिया वाले ले
Norway
लेते हैं
mutually assured destruction, and we have a 4v3
Indeed.
to wrap this one out. But Korea, complete control over the middle of the zone. A bunch of care packages are dropping right into their lap to potentially give them even more gear. I saw Anonix earlier, had a FAMAS, and therefore you have to assume it's level 3 gear. Good shooting from LFP1 though. Take Seoul down.
ये जसलैंड ना ब्राजील वाले कोरिया वाले ने पिछली बार बहुत
put
कर
in so
दिया
much work earlier on taking that space, but it kind of comes back to bite them there with Seoul going down early in the 4-on-3. He doesn't get revived here, you know, it's just not going to happen. So it ends up being a 3-on-3, and so the space taken giveth, and the space taken
मैशिन
taketh.
मिस करना उनके तो मारेंगे
As best as you can is Korea. At least force players of Brazil out of position potentially. Keep them pinned. Trying to use those grenades to go fishing is an Onyx. Can find a little bit of value.
बहुत
Just a little bit off the mark though. FP1, it's a pretty decent position. Now the smokes are out. I mean, they're doing everything they can to get Seoul back up and running. And Brazil trying to get ahead of it, but grenades continue to rain in.
ओह
This is actually starting to blow up in the face of
One
Korea
more,
now.
yeah.
LFP1,
Only one.
very nice shots onto Ionix. And again, another player in a position that's going to be quite difficult to revive. Somehow they've managed to get Seoul back on his feet. I don't know how they've managed that.
This is crazy stuff from Korea. Now they have to continue this kind of barrage of smokes. But this has allowed Kraken to try to reposition. See if he can find some
ब्राजील
damage
दिया
there.
होगा
Sparking, always a threat.
And Onyx looks like he's crawled out as well. So they might actually be able to get the full revive back for Korea. All 4 players standing. They've absolutely swindled Brazil. Absolutely swindled them.
Pick their pocket.
They've literally taken him out from the rock underneath their nose.
दोनों
I mean,
कितने
the
कितने
thing
देखा
is,
मैंने
though, is you give up a lot of position here as Korea to get back to 4 players. That's the trade-off. You've given Kraken an opportunity to claim this rock.
Not that's the worst thing in the world, though. They've still
No.
got. They're still holding on to 4 nades. Brazil's only got 1.
You have this hillside to work with.
Yeah.
If the circle shifts their way, that's even better, but
Here we go, nades.
let's see if they're on point. Close, not quite. Came up short of getting over the hill towards Sparking. Sparking now a little low on 5.56 there. Only 16 bullets outside of the chamber. Extended mag in that AUG though. Keep him firing for a little bit longer. Plenty of ammo here for Heaven. Trying to use that Dragunov to see if he can find that quick headshot and really just snowball this round out of control. Man, they're really on point with those rifles, though. Seems like every time Brazil looks, they're hitting shots.
They are. That's for sure. They haven't managed to convert this into a 3-on-3 or a 3-on-2, which was probably their prerogative. And I feel like if you give that kind of an opportunity, that kind of an inch to Korea, they're going to take the right. You let them get back to 4. They're very unlikely to relinquish control of this 4-on-3 once again. And yeah, you can give up some space, but you can take that space back as well. That is what Korea is looking to do right now. Ionix is pushed all the way to the north, which incidentally is actually down the hill, but Brazil have not seen him just yet.
Little bit of info there for Inox. I think he briefly saw the head of one of the players. Heaven now, what are you up to? Thought maybe try to cause a bit of a distraction, trying to bait a little bit for Inox. And a little bit of damage. Salute coming alive there. That 3x spray on the AUG only finds a couple tags. LFP1 out in the open, but Salute, too many targets, can't quite make the decision.
This will be it, surely this will be it. This will be the one that opens it up. Korea should find a knock. One shot required and doesn't quite land it, so Kraken will survive. It's tense, it's tight, but Brazil are hanging on, and now the zone is starting to push at the back of Korea. Heaven will get knocked. It was a risky goal play from Korea, and maybe it hasn't quite paid off.
I think you normally can rely on Heaven, and Onyx finds one, he finds two at the FAMAS, and now things are really broken open for the hometown team. LFP1, low on health, sees the blue, tries to get away, but cannot. South Korea is going to find a win. That's going to send Seoul erupting in applause.
Yeah.
Very happy to see Korea come through with a well-fought win, though, by both teams.
Man, brilliant, brilliant. I mean, I think you could, look, if we had an analyst desk, they would be having a field day with that game from Korea, because there's a lot to break down. You know, you could get in on the map, you know, do some drawing. I know the guys love drawing. Yeah, lots to sort of speak to. Obviously, you talk about the home crowd as well. Nice for them to have a little bit of something to look at. There's actually a couple of Norwegian flags out as well. It's actually amazing to me how many different countries are being represented in the crowd. Anyway, that's probably by the by. We've got to talk about Korea. As you say, great win from them. Initially, we talked about how they were taking some nice space. They were fighting early. I think it was Team Thailand that was on the receiving end of that one. And that felt like it was the catalyst for this game for Korea, right? It opened up that space initially for them, allowed them to push their way in the mid-game. Once they're in the mid-game, they didn't change anything up. They just kept pushing for space, and Seoul, I mean, he took pretty much the entire map. So at that point, Korea owns everything, and they just, man, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I really, though, want to give Brazil a lot of kudos, because the way they played that endgame was about as good as they could have. It was a really tricky spot. They were hitting some really nasty shots. You know, maybe if one grenade or something bounces a little bit better for them, they have a different end to that game. Maybe it's a 3v3 and they can potentially come through and win it. But yeah, I mean, for Korea, it's all the beginning parts of that game that snowball into this end. And the zone control just absolutely brilliant. So many teams, though, because of that circle, get shifted into that southwest edge, that southern edge, and just becomes an absolute beat grinder. And because Korea can keep so much space clear, they don't have to worry about that stuff too much. The only threat potentially was Germany, but Germany never really seemed comfortable to pull the trigger.
Well, Germany and Norway, but the issue was they ended up fighting each other. So that was where Seoul came into play with all the space that he had taken, right? It felt like there was maybe a world where, let's say, Norway wipes Germany, and they were kind of on their way to doing that. They might have lost a player in doing so, but they would have had high ground above Korea. And that could have been a bit of an issue, but then Seoul's like, what's up?
Yeah.
I mean, you're back.
Yeah, I'm here already.
Yeah, so...
I've been given all the space in this circle. Yeah. I guess I'm going to...
Was he given, or did he take?
A little bit.
Let's be real. I think he took.
Little
I'll give him the credit. Yeah,
little
great
column
game.
A, little column B.
Enjoyable game to watch, though. Tego, doing well for itself. Didn't much like it for the Aussies. That one felt like whatever they tried to do, it just ended up being like, nah, you're not allowed to do that.
It just felt like they couldn't really figure out how they wanted to.
A bit of indecision, but
yeah.
The zone shifts were awkward for them. They were
horrible.
They dropped like at the, southwest side of the map. Zone went northeast, kind of, and then they started to rotate, which they thought they could make, and then they heard shots, they rotated away from that. Then the rotate was like, oh, we should have done that. So you're back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then ultimately it's too late to find a safe rotate in. And so awkward for them. But top 4 teams from that one. Again, you know, Germany, Norway popping up in there. And so, again, 2 teams that we probably didn't have a huge amount to say about in the pre-show. Norway, obviously, we talked about because they're new, but we weren't too sure what to make of them. But, okay, game 2 wasn't so great for Norway, but game 1 and 3, we can say they've done really well for themselves. And they're putting together a pretty decent day here, alongside Germany. And Korea as well are definitely looking in that consistent bunch, right? We talked about the US going into game 3. They're probably being the most consistent over the first 2 games. Well, now it starts to become Korea, right? Like, they've had 3 pretty decent games, 1 very good game. Man of the match will be Seoul. They need like a space taken.
That would be
Give us the distance traveled, you know, something like that.
I mean, like, the zone of control around him, the bubble he created, was the size of, like, the Phase 6 circle.
I can't believe they named a city after him. It's really impressive.
It is impressive, isn't it? He's just that good at PUBG.
I know.
Like, oh, man.
Fair enough.
Maybe we should name our capital city after it.
I think that's fair enough.
I agree with that decision, honestly. 20 points, though, for South Korea. Brazil, Norway with 12 points apiece. You know what? Norway, look. They're steady. I'll give them that. I mean, you can see that guiding hand that James and Aitzzy have to kind of keep that team sort of in check. They're not really making bad rotations for the most part. Yeah, they're getting caught sometimes, but that's part of the game. I don't really fault teams if they get caught outside of a circle in a rotation. Like that just happens, especially at an event like this.
I mean, it's not going to be quite enough, I don't think, to catch up to USA. They were 36 points going into that game, ended at 40. Korea 13 going in, so they'll be 33. They'll be 7 points behind, which is kind of crazy, but, you know, still in the mix, still in the discussion, and, well, soon it will be time for Rondo, and anybody's guess as to what
Rondo's wild, man.
I've got no idea.
It's a huge
I'm just going to throw it out there. I've got no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, massive map. In terms of, like, land that's...
Playable?
Yeah. I think it's the most. I'm actually curious, like, if Miramar might have more surface area, if that makes sense, because Miramar is so much bumpier. Because Rondo's relatively flat in a lot of parts of the map. However, they're like on the edges of the map, like on the northern side, there's a lot more rockiness to it. So maybe there just actually is more land on Rondo. It's huge regardless.
Yeah. Do you think there's anything to the discussion about the teams from EWC coming into Rondo feeling a little bit better as we have a look at the leaderboard here?
No. And so here's why. In my experience, like teams that start out really good on a map, it rarely lasts because the meta gets so it shifts so quickly.
Are we at that point though? Like it's still early days.
Exactly. So I think like the teams that started well on Rondo are maybe not necessarily guaranteed to like have that carry over.
Sure. Because
teams will get reads and they'll kind of understand what they're doing and start getting ahead of the game a little bit of what like worked for you initially and things like that. Like particularly with like Sandhawk, I saw this a lot when it was introduced back in the day. Where like one team was like just like destroying on it, and then like a week later another team was destroying on it, and then I mean granted that was a much more chaotic map, but but the general idea I see this a lot when a new map comes in. There's like one team where I'm like they're really good at this map, and then a week later I'm like oh they kind of had a read on it, but
I also think well we've got an interview by the looks of things. No, we don't. Don't worry about that. That's the Korean analyst. Yeah, they're up top. They're in a nice spot.
They have way better seats now.
Almost wish we were up.
Actually, they don't. We have way better seats.
Be a nice view.
They should
anyway.
Be jealous
what I was going to say is I was watching EWC and I think it was Avenger on the analyst desk was sort of saying, you know, we're at a point now in PUBG, and I really agree with this point. I think it's a great point. That's why I'm bringing it up. We are at a point now in PUBG where the general level of brain. Interesting to look at the player setups on the stage there. Some of them have got fans. A lot of them have got fans, but a lot of them have got their little, hand warmers as well.
That's very important.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of an oxymoron, right? It's like, I'm too hot, I need a fan, but I'm too cold, my fingers need a little hand warmer.
It is weird, isn't it? But you want like all of your body but like your hands to be
warm.
Yeah.
Or not too hot, but anyway, by the by, let's not talk about that anymore. We've got some PUBG to jump into. It is going to be Rondo for the first time here at Nations Cup. Beautiful city, much like Seoul.
That is gorgeous, yeah. Architecture in China, absolutely beautiful. Buildings there, really stunning. There is the moving sidewalks, which are hilarious, but
Yes.
I don't expect that we're going to be in Jadena City too much.
You never know. You never know.
I mean, look, if there's a Jadena City ending, buckle up, because there is crazy verticality in that city.
All right.
I
Let's
thought Destin was bad. Well, maybe Destin is worse.
see how we go. Big map, as you say. Big map. So a lot of space for all the teams. Maybe those teams that have been struggling a little bit early in the game might feel a little bit more at home. Maybe not quite as choked in by other squads around the place. So Canada's going to get the loot, the spoils from Jadena City.
There's maybe an opportunity here for Thailand from Tin Long Garden to try to punish Brazil. Brazil's going to drop past them. Is this a hot drop? Ooh, at Danqing, excuse me.
Maybe.
This is pretty hot.
First one of the day. Yes, it is definitely going to be a hot drop. I can tell you that one for sure. Who's going to get away with it? Well, Savior has found himself a shotty, and Leo has found Silson. So already Argentina, they're on the back foot. Pippa's gone down as well. This is not looking good. You got DraftKings up on the roof with the UMP, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to save the day at this point.
It's not looking good. The control that Chinese Taipei has right now is ridiculous. They have to overstep. The Emic briefly spotted out QBZ from Zenon, trying to find a little bit more damage. Didn't quite find any yet, and Emic's gonna have to reposition as he's been spotted out. They know that, you know, Chinese Taipei with this numbers advantage is gonna be able to kind of pick them apart. So trying to bait him into DraftKings if possible. See if they can get that done.
Yeah, I mean, it's madness, isn't it, when you think about how many potential drop locations there are on this map to see a contest at this point in time. Anyway, there's a bit of info. DraftKings is going to be the X factor here. If he could maybe hold that position and get 2 knocks in quick succession, this might be salvageable for Argentina, but it's looking pretty rough if you're in MX's shoes. I guess he doesn't have any meds either.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't
Hasn't been looting.
any time to loot. Yeah. DraftKings is none.
It's all on DraftKings.
He has a UMP in a dream. It's gonna have to be one of the craziest plays. If his head peeks up over there, Zenon.
Yeah, he's just got to not move.
Didn't see him yet.
But the longer this goes, the easier it's going to be for Chinese Taipei, because Zenon's going to be wrapping around the back, and they know that MX can't leave the building now. Spotted him on the top floor. I don't know what that shot was.
They're hearing his footsteps too. So it's gonna be pretty tough. Leo. DraftKings. Oh, he sniffed it out, but DraftKings still able to get the better of him. Still able to at least claim a point for Argentina.
Yeah, that's a wild one. You almost look at that and sort of ask, why did they not peek that together if they were going to peek it? If they knew, did they know? The way that he peeked it looked like he knew. Either way, Chinese Taipei are going to lose a member in the hot drop, but it still looks like they're going to get away with things pretty comfortably here. MX has been able to find some kind of meds somewhere, but only gotten himself back up to 83 for the moment. It is ticking up.
He dropped down that ledge looking right at him. I thought it was,
That's what I'm thinking. Like, but if you're aware, like, surely you're not taking that peak solo when you're in a 4-on-2.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could have been cleaned up a little bit. No doubt about it. Emic, a lot of defense to try to play. Not much to work with other than a red dot and an M4. Some damage here, pre-firing around the corner. Still not able to connect. Everybody playing so safe, but finally Savior gonna take that safety away. Emic down, Argentina out. And it's gonna be 4 kills with only 1 loss for Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, well, there we are. First 4.5 minutes of the game, we get a bit of excitement. And now we go back to your regular scheduled programming, which will be a little bit slower here to start things off. Zone shift did go out towards sort of the southwest.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag over there in terms of terrain. There's some mountains, there's some kind of flat grassland stuff. I think at least one of those really tall mountains is in play over there.
Yep.
So got to be aware of those. That's kind of one of the big features of the map. You know, get on top of those. But it's dangerous now. They changed them a little bit. They're a lot less safe than they used to be with the readjustment. But still, they're fun to play. Get up on there, give me a Car 98, and now you just make it rain for days.
It's a very nice looking map, isn't it?
It is a beautiful map.
Beautiful map. I like the green maps. I like Erangel. I like Sanok from a visual perspective.
Do you not get a lot of this in where you're from in Australia?
Well,
you were talking about dust storms earlier.
yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be. I did grow up during a drought, so there is that. But no, I mean, we definitely don't get mountains like this.
Ah, okay.
We don't really have mountains in Australia.
That's interesting.
We're just like big.
It's such a huge. Is island even the right word? Isn't it?
It is a
continent.
It is a continent and an island.
Oh, it's both.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just have everything there. Huh?
World's biggest island and smallest continent, I think.
Interesting. Well, we have plenty of mountains here.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to go up one or two, but
Gorgeous, yeah. A lot of fun.
got bigger things to do.
Okay, once again, a little bit late, but a little bit ahead of a couple teams. So, kind of curious if there's going to be any adjustments here for the side of the UK squad, like the way they've been playing the early game, you know, to try to keep that extra player alive. Because, I mean, you think to some of those matches earlier in the day, right? Like, if they have that one extra player, maybe they come through a fight that they didn't. They get a little bit deeper into a game. They're able to rack up a few more points. 10 so far, not the end of the world after 3 matches, but you need to kind of start picking up steam here to keep yourself in the conversation for the rest of the day. So it seems to me when I'm looking at the map that they're being a little bit more tightly gripped with each other, and now they just throw into Vietnam.
Yeah, Vietnam is a real problem for many teams at the moment. Fex is going to get away with his life for the moment, but some nades going to get dropped on top of his head. Just a little bit too deep. He's going to be able to wiggle around. Himas is looking for it. Michael around the corner there, almost going to lose his life. A couple of these shots just missing for Vietnam. It could have been a little bit cleaner, and that may well end up costing them, but Fex has been spotted out as well. And from downtown, Haisaki's got a really nice angle. This is just looking kind of doomed at this point for the UK. It's just too clean from Vietnam. I mean, you know, they've just kind of crashed the compound with no info, and Vietnam's popped their heads up and said, well, we'll take those points.
I just love the way that Vietnam plays. Like, the way that Haisaki kind of maneuvers himself and positions himself. Like, we saw it in the very first game where he sacrificed himself on the high ground to buy that extra space for the rest of his team to rotate in there. He's willing to take that off angle to really just send UK backing. They have no hope in that situation. And you saw the adjustment there, I think, from Team UK, is that they stuck together and they said, okay, we're going to try to get a little more center early. We're not going to play edge. And it turned out they just drove right into a compound that was already taken. I mean, kind of interesting that, I don't know if they scouted it and just...
It didn't seem like it.
It didn't feel like it.
No. I mean, Vard was just driving straight at it. I don't know, maybe there was some false information there. Either way, not going to work out for UK. Just the one playing out. And, well, speaking of scouting, got a couple of gliders already. Lyrics in one, and Germany picking up a glider as well. There goes the UK. It's unfortunate. I mean, you were talking about them saying, you know, you kind of get them rolling a little bit, but not going to happen here.
It is a little bit surprising, but, well, I have no doubt that those players can bounce back. I've seen them too many times.
But it might be a day 1 to 2 thing rather than a game 3 to 4 thing or 4 to 5 at this point. Like, it's just, you know, something's not happening, something's not working today for UK. Have to maybe have a bit of a look in tomorrow. James in the glider, doing a bit of scouting for Norway. He's been, I mean, one of the top players of the day so far.
I'm curious if maybe he's looking to get up on this that we just saw, or one of these, like, high ground positions or something. Or if it is just general scouting that he's going to be doing.
Most kills of the day so far is Mr. James.
James.
Yeah, 8 kills.
I go.
Out of those first 3 games, so he's progressing along quite nicely.
He's so patient. That's like the thing that's so impressive about him, is he will just outweight his opponents and put himself in spots where you just don't expect anybody to be. Oops, that glider not doing so hot, so it's gonna crash. It's already burning.
good. I'm interested in why James is up there when the rest of the team is in the center of the map.
I thought for a second there Brexico was going to like dive bomb him. Try to just fly into him.
Oh,
Dead center.
That's a nice shift if you're a Norway fan, if you're a Japan fan as well. Especially I think we're looking at Japan and saying, you're going to have to get something out of this game. Yep, it's been a bit of a rough day so far, but nice 2-2 split. And Imak and Kay are going to join forces in the center of the zone.
It's a golden opportunity. They have a great compound, dead center. It's very defendable too. You can see that Germany now continues their wrap around the edge with the info that Brex had provided, saying there's already a team here on the west. Let's try the south, see if we can find space there. Pico is such a fun vehicle. Just so quiet, so hard to hear. This electric car coming at you. Godby right behind Luke 12, but Luke 12 was watching. And Godby was easy pickings for him.
Seeing a bit of a rivalry develop now between Australia and China, and it looks like China don't want to let this one go astray, but man, you're driving 1 by 1 at Luke 12, you're not going to get away with that. Where's the rest of Australia? He needs his help right now. Flood's got to get a real wriggle on. He's been slotted out. You've just got a W key right now. Gets in behind Ming Ming, but not before that initial knock onto Luke 12. And that means Australia will definitely lose a player, but it might only be the one because, well, China have just walked right into the setup of Australia, and that is another 4 points on the board. You'd be disappointed to lose Luke, but honestly, he did a pretty heroic job to get those first couple of kills so cleanly. Probably should have gone down a little quicker than he did.
No, that was just, yeah. The clean shooting bought him a little bit of extra time. Flood almost got there, but Flood, I was watching him, and he had to do the old crouch walking.
He was crouch walking. He didn't want to sort of run into an awkward angle, but as soon as he started getting shot, was when he was like, all right, I'm just going to go.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, better go. Flores, though. Tiggleton.
Has he been seen?
I don't think Tig saw him.
I
don't think Tig saw him. Oh, he did. Man, Tig. So fast, but Hema strikes as well at the same time. Oh. Tiggleton just barely, but gets knocked before he can confirm the flush. It's high sacking. Look at these angles from Vietnam. They're all over the place.
That's ridiculous. Monty's got a real handful to deal with now. I honestly don't even think this is going to be salvageable. Honestly, this might be a world where Monty just has to say, solo.
They're so far away from each other.
Yeah.
Like this 2-1-1 they have is crazy. Now they're reinforcing because there was a knock, but goodness me, that is just so much confidence to have in those players that are out there at, 300, 200 meters. Grenades being thrown by Monty. He still has 2 more to go. Trying to keep the hopes alive for Australia. Korea's going to use this opportunity to just scoot on by.
Yeah, I mean, I think best case scenario for Monty here is someone's going to try and third-party Vietnam. You can't expect to get away with 4 right now. They're going to all come charging at him. He might be able to line 1 or 2 up. It's a nice angle. He can take those isolated duels, but you're asking for too much from a single guy. So Australia's out in 13th. Korea have heard those shots. They've seen the knock in the kill feed. They are maybe thinking about it, but doesn't look like they're going to head on into
Isaki's right near where Korea kind of pulled up. So curious to see if they're going to be able to figure that out in time. Hisaki, he is so smart with his positioning. He's going to see a player there. Obviously not going to pull the trigger. There's no hope of getting a knock of any kind. We saw James flying around, but he's mostly just doing combat air patrol for Norway right now. Seeing if there's anybody near. Hisaki just getting all the info he needs to make the decisions he wants. Sees James, says, okay, James, if you screw up your flying, I might be able to punish it. If you accidentally crash into a tree or something, which, we've seen happen a few times this year. Those gliders are tricky.
Yeah.
They're PUBG players, not pilots, so got to give them a little bit of a break.
This has been a big game from Vietnam so far. 6 kills on the board. Rocketing up the standings. Looking to maybe overtake Korea if they can maybe win this fight on the northern side of the map. Isaki's not interested in it, though. He'll be backing off to rejoin the rest of the troops. It seems to be pretty quiet around Rondo at the moment. Seen a few teams go down early. Builds a bit of space, for the rest of the teams that are hanging around. Vietnam's in transition. Where are they going to end up? It's a bit of an interesting rotation. Because to me, there's no immediately obvious place to come into the zone.
You're absolutely right. You might have to take a risk and try to fight somebody or just try to cut through some open space.
And if you're going to do that, is it not better the enemy that you know than the enemy you don't? Right, knowing that Korea was kind of close by, we sort of have a rough idea of where they are. We've maybe been hearing some shots from Turkey and stuff like that. But if we rotate all the way down south and try and just cut in somewhere, like we have no idea what we're getting into. So Vietnam have actually turned around and gone back to their original position, which I think is probably a bit of a better choice given the circumstances.
The problem is Korea has gotten ahead of the game there. They've already spotted this out, and they're setting up shop to take a fight. Look at that, Corey's already down to one hit, and Soul's gonna find it. Looking for the flush, take some damage, but wanted to make sure that that was a confirmed kill. And now Vietnam, yes, they have High Saki in the zone. They're gonna try to get to him, but they lost a player along the way.
Yeah. Maybe just a little bit of indecision from Vietnam there. Seems to have cost them. Might lose another one. Saki taking a bit of damage. What is going on here? All right. On their way. Korea are going to have to be on their way as well, so it's pushing out their back. So it looks like we'll see the end of that little engagement for the moment.
Yeah, Korea's going to have to regroup now and also have a similar dilemma to what Vietnam was facing in a way. You know, do you try to fight? Do you try to cut by teams? You know, we can see on the map that there's some room around the northern edge, but this is, again, a relatively flat part of the map, and you know, we're just...
Painful shift if you're Korea.
Very. There is not much to work with here. Thailand quickly identifying that there's a hillside that they can work with, heading in towards that. You know, it's still Norway and Indonesia that you have to deal with along this north edge in this compound that they've kind of split between themselves. So this is very, very difficult for Korea, to say the least. You're going to have to fight, probably no matter what. And like we saw with Australia in the previous game, you know, yeah, you might be able to wipe one team out, but there's layers of this onion you're going to have to peel.
Well, Korea have made the right choice. They've gone north. This is the side of the map that was a little bit less busy. Catch up with their rotation in just a minute, because Vietnam and Turkey are butting heads. We've also got to worry about Norway behind Vietnam as well. They've also kind of got Indonesia to deal with. Starting to get a little bit spicy on this north side of the map.
A little bit of that deployable cover there for Vietnam. Give them a little bit of extra, but those triangles don't give you too much, to be honest. They're not the biggest objects in the world, and it's pretty easy to find an angle, especially again on this map. So much space. Team C with, oh, nice headshot, Spectro. Almost found the second to get the knock. Korea trying to do some recon along the way, getting the bus and get going. We don't have a ton of time to figure things out here with the phase 4 blue starts to tick pretty quickly. Indonesia as well has to make their move ahead of Korea. So Korea, this actually might work out pretty well for Korea, because they're going to get a lot of info off this.
Oh, what is going on? Taikon, he's going to get run over. Vietnam in all sorts of trouble. Norway have just sent it right into the thick of things. But it might be Norway that's in all the trouble, actually, because Vietnam lock it down. Norway eliminated Thailand. Does the same to Indonesia, and in the blink of an eye, now it's all starting to pop off. Nurans. Oh, there's no way!
No way he gets both!
Ionix and Salute both go down. Can he get the flush before he gets chased by the rest of Korea? Ionix will be finished off. You're kidding me.
Oh, Nurans, how? How in the world? I thought he was dead to rights. His position got given up because of that Indonesia maneuver, and Korea's like, okay, he's isolated most likely. That's probably the anchor player. Let's take that down first. Kind of pick him apart. Xavier. Lun stuck here. That's a great grenade from Cold Marco. Xavier strikes, takes down Ruren. He's shot in the back, and Cold Marco steps up with the AUG. Barrel stuffs him. Chinese Taipei eliminated a 10th. 2 players only for Turkey. And Soul Heaven Salute. Able to find that res, get up to 3 players. Nonix, of course, as you mentioned, taken down. So at least just enough space on the edge of the circle for Korea to maintain. But circle again, southwest hard shift.
It's Germany's day, man. It's Germany's day. They've got to run with it. They're getting a lot of favorable shifts at the moment. Oh, dear.
I got him. It got him. It landed on him. I think think that's the first time it's happened in PUBG Esports. I'm pretty sure.
It's gonna be all good. It's gonna be all good. We'll get you up, buddy.
I was waiting for that.
Daddu kya haal ne?
To get killed by one of those. I was waiting for someone to use it offensively to get a kill.
I mean, it had to happen eventually, right?
और क्या कर रहे दद्दू?
Downtown just
आज आया नहीं कुछ दिन में खेलने.
and the rest of Japan are going to have to move, right? This was looking pretty good for Japan. They had a nice central compound, but Zone started to shift away from them. Haven't really capitalized on that position so far. They've only got the 1 kill for this game. They are a team that's in desperate need for points. Same can be said for Canada, but I'm not sure it's going to quite come together for Canada.
Canada lose 1.
That's dangerous. Japan still kicking. 2-2 split.
हाँ जाना बतो.
They try to make their way through the door, and Canada continues this drive by Herman Fire.
Daddu आया एक मिनट just.
They're taking a bunch of damage. Very tough position. Found a brief moment where they can rest up and get some heals through, but that Dacia is already sparking, and that's not the player. That's just the vehicle state itself. And that's not great because that means it doesn't have a lot of life left in it for your next maneuver.
No, and you're going to be basically gate-kept by Germany at this point. They're not going to need to do anything but sit in that compound and wail on your opponents.
I don't think any of those buildings are in. Maybe that warehouse for Korea there in that compound, but maybe the very edge of that eastern warehouse.
Yeah.
Just barely.
Playable if they want it.
But they're going to go for the rock, or the windmill hill.
Windmill Hill.
I don't have a lot of good names for stuff on this map yet.
No.
It's mostly just what me and my friends make up as we go. Oh, grenade. Oh.
Cook it some more.
I'll go the shields for Japan.
I mean, that's really all you've got to work with at this point, isn't it?
A little bit of a hill, and goodness.
How are they finding all of these angles, man? Like, Korea are just picking players off one by one.
You know the map? Like they're very well aware. So much of this map is finding this edge that has like just a little bit of elevation and a little bit of hillside.
Right.
You can do so much damage in this part of the map because it's so wide open. It's so hard for everybody else to find that safe space. Fluky identified grenade way too far from Seoul, but Heaven feeling like maybe he's got a better read on this, and everything in the kitchen sink coming. Fluky avoiding disaster so far. Canada now striking in the blue zone plus the frag, gonna take him down. It's good coordination there. Brazil in the meanwhile off screen taking out Turkey. They're out in 8th.
Yeah, I mean, this could be another big game for Brazil, right? Just having a look at that next zone shift. Brazil are in the only compound that's inside of the next zone, and they are starting to pick up their game a little bit as well.
Consult.
Looking pretty good. There's Brazil.
क्या consult दद्दू?
Kill feed again for
अच्छा
all
डॉक्टर
the
से
right reasons.
कंसल्ट करने गया था. ओके ठीक. तभी नहीं आया ना. मैं तो खुद नहीं आया. मैं डिबेट कर रहा था कि लाइव आएगा.
Three more medkits.
बट कोई आया ही नहीं फिर. मैं फिर ये इसकी बात पार्टी करने लग गए. मैं और फ्रेंड बैठे थे पहले. एक और दोस्त.
Shrimpsy's finished off by Brex.
टूर्नामेंट चल रहा है इसका. देख रहे हैं इसको.
That scoreboard ticking over nicely as well. Here comes Japan, sending it into the center.
That's ambitious.
That is bold. That is
अमेरिका ने लूज कर लिया एक. कोरिया साला पहुंच गया बराबर भाई अमेरिका के.
Not sure that's working out.
3-3 के साथ. जर्मनी फिर 4 के साथ है. ब्राजील अच्छा जा रहा है.
Basically, from like all the angles around that edge, other than maybe the west side. Canada.
Firing squad.
Yep. It's the prone town, but Korea, they are so accurate right now with these DMRs.
Why is it Korea have an angle onto every single team, it feels like? I mean, Brazil's obviously actually ending up getting the pickings of the litter here when it comes to Japan.
Oh no! How did he survive?
I have no idea, man. I tell you what, if a car landed on me like that, I'm not sure I'd have half HP.
There's plenty of grenades still in the bag. Oh, what are those headshots, Heaven? He is doing so much damage. Soul getting involved now. Just mowing players down from Canada. Man. Oh, man.
It is Korea's world. We're just living in it.
Yeah. I mean, that's my life.
The thing is, they're not actually picking up that many points. Like, all of the knocks that they're getting are kind of being stolen.
They're farming damage per round. Yeah. You got that going for you. There you go. That's just a knock. Rex, oh, Heaven just barely.
Can only imagine how clean this game would be looking right now for Korea if they hadn't lost Iononics earlier. They'd be 4 strong. Cleaning house on the southern side of the map. Oh my god.
Outrageous. Outrageously good DMRing. Oh, the AWM. Oh.
Okay, well, Could we get another German victory here?
दर्शक आउट का ओटी करने का अच्छा
I mean, Japan just has
आज क्या दिन है
nope. Okay, forget that.
Yeah, as far as Germany is concerned, it's not Kane, it's Kane.
फ्राइडे ओके ओके
Which means none in German. 'Cause there is,
That was a great joke.
and that is exactly how you spell it as well.
You get a gold star.
3 बचे फिर से जर्मन कोरिया जर्मन तो बढ़िया खेल
Brazil does a real good
सेम
role
टीम्स
playing
लग रही हैं
this
लास्ट
though.
वाली
I have to imagine
अमेरिका
they're
को
sitting
छोड़
on a
के
decent amount of utility, even though they
लास्ट
used a
मैच में भी
lot
सेम ही
clear
थी
out
लगभग
Japan.
साथ में अमेरिका था मे भी
You know, with that compound there and
ये चौथा मैच है ना
bodies, down
इसके
go,
लास्ट में
cover, triangle,
ब्राजील तो था
Germany,
कोरिया भी था
but it's not giving them a lot. A little.
But the zone shift is.
The zone shift is very favorable, so those might actually end up being what they need to get through this. You know, 'cause now Brazil and Korea have to consider their maneuvers, and you'd love for one team or the other to kind of really engage Germany
कोरिया तो
before you
मुश्किल
make
करेंगे
the
इस बार
move.
तो
Kraken identified a rock that was safe and just said, well, I got to try.
Yeah. Just got to take some space somewhere. He should be okay. Needs to get him tossed in his direction, but it's going to be difficult to find an angle that's really going to pressure him unless maybe Mika gets close with a molly potentially, slides it in. He's holding onto a nade. 2-man pushing forward now, Germany. Oh, that nade was very good, but
Bounce.
Kraken is surviving. The Molotov's gone a little bit too deep. That's what I'm talking about. It's just a little bit too difficult to find an angle for the nades around that rock. It's quite large. And Korea haven't found an angle either.
कॉपीराइट ने शायद नहीं क्लेम आएगा
Still in Heaven's
कॉपीराइट नहीं
bags.
आएगा
There's a chance that maybe they can find some success. Heaven's just keeping an eye out.
Don't give them an angle.
देखा जाएगा अगर आएगा कॉपीराइट
Yep.
कॉपीराइट क्लेम आएगा
One thing is
राइट कॉपीराइट जल्दी तो नहीं आता वर्ड पार्टी में पहले तो नहीं आता लोगों को
Then he shoots.
देखेंगे बाकी क्या
Waited. Cars were moving. Trying to use that opportunity to catch Brazil a little bit off guard, but it's awkward. Yeah, they have to fall back a bit to make sure that sparking get back up and running.
There's not a lot of terrain for Korea to play.
No, there's like none.
Chris is going to walk across. Bit of a look.
I don't know where you go. As Korea, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
But it might be this hill edge. Yeah, but this is not good.
Well, off we go. Korea moves, Brazil moves, and Germany strikes. Mika's going to get that finish onto Guzera. And unfortunately for Brazil, it sort of feels like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They didn't really have anywhere to go, and Korea and Germany both have angles on them, which is obviously not going to end well. Mika wants to push his way forward with that P90 and get into the thick of things, but honestly, doesn't even really need to. Brazil are suffering. What is going on here?
Oh, there's 2 players in this, and they're just spraying him down. Salute's got 1, he's got 2! Unbelievable! And they don't lose a single player!
Are you kidding me? What is Korea doing this game? It's just insane.
They're unstoppable.
ना आए नहीं आज
Seemingly
कोई भी नहीं आया
nothing, no resistance being
नाराज
put
भाई, ना
forward.
कोई और।
Payne's trying to cut through Germany.
मैं तो खुद
Sparking's
दोपहर के
still
बाद आया
alive.
हूँ
Soul in Heaven, ripping players apart, and
They're
it's
gonna go
just
back.
Payne's.
There's no way. They're going to go back to back. What a wild game this has been from Korea. I mean, like, when I said it's Korea's world, we're just living in it, I kind of half believed it. I didn't know that they were going to win the game, but right now, it really feels like that's true. Korea can do no wrong. Look at that! Unbelievable. Korea walk away with it again, back to back. And the USA better be worried because Korea is in town. In fact, no, we are in Koreatown.
No doubt about it. Just, I thought there was really not much hope there for Korea. Just looking at Germany's position, looking at the way they were controlling their space, I thought maybe you get a couple kills, maybe you just try to cannibalize the points off of Brazil and make it work
चलो
from
बंद
there.
करता हूँ अभी
And
मैच
they were
को
like, nah, they're
काफी टाइम
fighting.
हो गया
Yeah.
We're going to take the win.
That's
2
some disappointed
दो मैच
looking
बचे हैं
faces for
बाद में
Germany, I have to
देखेंगे
say.
जस्ट
I'm not an expert, but I can read a bit of body language.
दो शाम को देखूंगा शायद आऊँगा अगर आए
A
सब
little
लोग
bit sad there, a little bit
देखते हैं गारंटी
frustrated
नहीं
maybe because honestly that could have been a second win for Germany. Definitely. It felt like, you know, they had a really good position inside the zone, but